From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, board to reconvene. Good morning, Kern County family, and good morning to the public. Welcome. We are happy to have you here. Looking forward to robust conversations to improve Kern County. Today is the regular meeting, Tuesday, February 25, 9 a.m. And I would ask Kathy Kraus at this time to please call the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Parlier.
Here.
Supervisor Flores.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here. Thank you. We're going to move now to the salute of our beloved flag. I would ask my dear friend Tony Martinez to make his way to the podium so I can brag about him a little bit and he can receive the honor due for his service and life. Tony Martinez enlisted in the U.S. Army during Vietnam. He went as a volunteer and served there valiantly, 64 and 65. It's why we see the hat that we have here. Previously, he had enrolled as an MP, military police, as we say. It doesn't surprise me. You always felt like a cop to me, Tony. First assignment, Incheon, Korea, all around the globe to serve this great nation. In 1995, he was hired by the Bakersfield Police Department as their first civilian community relations specialist ever, assigned to the Southeast community. Quickly learning his role was to build trust between the community and the police department. Although it was a demanding job, it was incredibly rewarding, created positive change for the children and families in the community, and continues to give and serve all throughout Southeast Bakersfield and Kern County, him and his family. He has often said that if your agency or business provides services to the community, then you are a potential partner. Tony, thank you for serving as Vice President of the Arts Council, and thank you for showing us what partnership, both courageous and bold, can be, for the role that you have played in this county, the service you have given this great nation. Thank you. Today, it is an honor to salute the flag with you. I would ask the public that when we are done, if you would please remain standing for a moment of silence, prayer, or meditation. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank you. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, you told me you were nervous, and I couldn't imagine a guy in Nam in 64, 65 get nervous in here, but it happens, right?
I used to speak a lot. The last time I was here with two of my mentors and friends, Mayor Harvey Hall and John Enriquez, great heroes in my life.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being one of those. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move now to my favorite part of the morning, which is our pet of the week. And I'm going to ask Nick Cullen our animal hero in this community to tell us a little bit about this precious baby you have.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. We selected Darlene. Darlene is a large breed dog. She's a mixed breed. She's only about 9 weeks old. She's going to get much bigger than this. I
How
will
big?
not be able to hold her in
How
about
big?
3 months. She'll probably be a 50 or 60 pound dog. But she is available for adoption at the Kern County Animal Shelter today.
50, 60 pounds of unconditional love, friendship, and also we love them because they know but do not tell, right? Our favorite part about them. Nick, thank you for all you do. Thank you. Let's find a loving home for Darlene. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move now to the consent agenda. Consent matters begin right away on page 2, and they include matters 1 and 2, as well as 4 through 9. On page 3, items 12 through 16. On page 4, items 17 and 21. On page 5, items 22 through 24. Item 25 will be withdrawn at this time, and then remaining items 26 through 28 will remain on consent unless otherwise noted. On page 6, all items listed, which are 29 through 35, and on page 7, all items listed, which are 36 through 42. Are there any members of the public who would like to comment on consent? Consent is a portion of the agenda that is reserved for items considered by the staff and family to be non-controversial. If you feel otherwise, we want to hear from you. Now would be the time to do so. Otherwise, in good governance, we like to proceed with these matters that they have been evaluated by the staff and family. Anyone? Okay.
Motion on consent?
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Second.
We have a motion on consent and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, we're now going to move to item number 3 under resolutions and proclamations. Today, proclaiming March 2025 as Social Work Appreciation Month in Kern County. This matter will be presented from Supervisor Couch, or Vice Chair Couch, to Lito Murillo.
Motion on the proclamation.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Morning, Chair and Board. We're honoring our social workers today, and they have the toughest job. I won't say the toughest job in Kern County because they're all pretty tough, but it's a job that I couldn't do. We always wish we could do more for them because of the work that they do that clearly I couldn't do. And the reason I couldn't do is I don't know if I have their patience, if I have the empathy they have, and if I could take home what they probably have to take home every day. It's got to be difficult. So I'm going to throw this to Lito, but first I want to read the proclamation into the record. He will have some comments, I'm sure, and he will throw it to Maria for her comments. The proclamation reads, the Board of Supervisors, County of Kern, the State of California, has officially proclaimed March 2025 as Social Worker Awareness Month in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into our official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chair, Leticia Perez, and stated today, February 25, 2025. So it's our way of saying thank you. It's inadequate, but it's what we do. So thank you for Lito, for what you do for the department and the entire department that you lead and all the work that they do. Thank you.
Beautifully said, Supervisor Couch. And I could not agree more. Lito, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Thank you again for this proclamation. Absolutely agree with Supervisor Couch and his sentiment. The work that social workers do for our community is immeasurable. Whether you work in areas like child protective services, adult protective services, in-home supportive services, or welfare to work, you're talking about safeguarding and improving the quality of life of family, children, and older adults. And I can't thank our social workers in Kern County more. I'm so appreciative of all the work that they do day in, day out. I'd like to turn it over to Maria Bermudez, who's the Assistant Director over Child Welfare Services.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Like Lito said, I'm Maria Bermudez, and I'm the Assistant Director over the Child Welfare Services Bureau. I'd like to first thank you for this proclamation for recognizing March as Social Worker Appreciation Month. Social workers stand on the front lines of society's most profound challenges: rising rates of substance abuse, homelessness, exploitation, and the abuse that affect the most vulnerable, from our seniors to our children. Social workers are called every day to be the one to respond to trauma, armed with a notebook, skill, creativity, and unwavering compassion and patience. Compassion plus action is this year's national theme for Social Worker Month, emphasizing the role that social workers play in transforming lives. It means spending days or even weeks piecing together a child or an elderly person's difficult story. It means being the one who, at 2 a.m. in the morning, comforts a frightened child who's being transported to our Jameson Children's Center. It means the one who is tirelessly drafting a court report to ensure a child's voice is heard in court. It means investigating and protecting the elderly from financial exploitation. It also means hope when you make countless phone calls to keep siblings together in foster care, and being the one that brings a family back together. On behalf of the department, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all the social workers in the audience today, as well as to all the social workers in our community. The emotional weight of your work is immeasurable. Thank you for your dedication, your compassion, as it makes a lasting difference in the lives of others. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an excellent presentation. We're going to move on to, excuse me, Kathy, we're going to take that matter in executive. Got it. That sounds good. Okay. So at this time, we have matters on the agenda today that are of such profound significance to the comprehension of Kern County's financial status, its well-being, that's related to, of course, so many people here that would like transparency and would like answers. We have presentations today that are so important for you to hear. I am very eager to make those presentations now, and in so doing, we're going to take matters out of order so that you may hear them and understand and help us get on the same page here in Kern County, because I think it's absolutely critical, as we are clearly not at this moment. I want to move to items 18, 19, and 20. I'm going to ask Elsa if you would please, I know you have prepared, I know your preparation for this item. I know your heart on this matter. I appreciate your expertise. We are very eager to hear from you on matters on number 18, which is Kern County Employee Retirement Association Actuarial Overview Presentation. Elsa, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. About a year ago, Mr. Dominic Brown, Executive Director of the Kern County Employees Retirement Association, and representatives from Seagon Consultant provided your board and the public with a presentation on retirement actuarial principles. Today, they will be making an actuarial review presentation. The retirement plan is an essential part of our employees' future financial stability. It is important to understand how the plan works and how it is funded. Today's presentation will include an overview of the actuarial valuation information, membership demographics, including the number of retirees and active members earning a retirement from the county that have increased from 2023 to 2024. In addition, they will provide historical analysis and information about future contributions. And while the information is intended to serve as an illustration of future financial outcomes, it does not represent a guarantee of results. Every year, when the actuarial valuation is completed, the information is updated so we can make informed decisions when estimating staffing costs and preparing the county budget. Mr. Brown and representatives of Siegel Consulting are here to make this presentation for your board and the public.
Thank you, Elsa. Welcome. Good morning.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Again, as Elsa said, my name is Dominic Brown. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Kern County Employees Retirement Association. And thank you, Elsa, for that introduction and for working with us to put this item on today's agenda. We currently have $6.2 billion in the investment plan portfolio, $500 million more than last year at this time. We currently pay $35 million a month to over 9,000 retirees in Kern County and around the world. Over the last 5 years, we have achieved 8.6% return on investment, which is exceeding the assumed rate of return of 7%. By way of background and support, it's important to understand the nature of KSERA and our role and responsibility as it relates to the benefits that we administer. Benefits are negotiated by our plan sponsors with their employees. KSERA does not participate in collective bargaining. We calculate the cost and collect the payments from members and plan sponsors and deliver payments to members according to their unique benefit formula. We currently have 15 plan sponsors and 7 benefit tiers. We maintain compliance with our plan document, MOU changes, Supreme Court decisions, IRS updates, and other regulatory requirements. It is important to understand that KSERA members can remain in membership for many decades, and in some circumstances, their membership may span up to 100 years or more. Pension plans are very complex. In order to assist us with the valuation of these benefits, we contract with an actuarial firm. Molly Calgano and Todd Towser from Siegel Consulting have joined us here today to help us understand the actuarial mechanics of pension administration and show some projections that will assist the county in financial planning for future costs associated with the benefits that KSERA administers on behalf of our membership. Welcome and thank you, Molly.
Thank you for having us here. We're going to start off with a brief summary of the actuarial evaluation, and then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Todd Towser, who's going to do some historical analysis and some looking forward of where we're going. So with that, I'll dive right in. We can actually, move right on to the actuarial GPS. So the primary service that the actuary provides is the annual actuarial evaluation, which Elsa mentioned. And we like to think of that as your actuarial GPS. So if you think of a GPS and the information it provides, it does 2 primary things. It shows you where along the route to your final destination you are, and then it may say, turn left here, go right there. It gives you the next steps you need to get to your final destination. The actual evaluation really does a similar thing. It looks at liabilities, assets, funded ratio, unfunded liabilities. That's where we're at right now. And then it also calculates the member employer contribution rates. That is how we're going to get to our final destination, which is to fully fund the promised benefits for the participants in the plan. Now, every once in a while, you may be driving along, your GPS pops up, you're no longer on the most optimal route. That does also occur when your actuary performs an actuarial experience study and we refine some of the recommended assumptions. We're not going to really touch on that today as we are not in the process of doing an experience study, and that won't be done for another few years. So we're not going to spend too much time on that today. So with that, we can move on to the next slide. Like I said, the primary outputs of your actuarial valuation are the contribution requirements. Those are the next steps to get to our final destination, and the funded status. That's where we're at today, looking at the funded ratio and the unfunded actuarial accrued liability. There are also several secondary purposes of the actuarial valuation. We analyze the demographic and economic experience. We do that on an annual basis in the actuarial valuation to see how things change from one year to the next. And we also use that analysis when we perform our actuarial experience study to discover if there are any new trends emerging in retirement patterns or so on and so forth. It's the basis for costing any plan changes. Those are less common these days because of PEPRA, which makes it much more challenging to implement any new tiers of benefit. So those are the primary and secondary outputs of the actuarial funding valuation. We do have a footnote here. We also perform a GASB 67 valuation, which is for financial accounting purposes. Next slide. So just a quick overview of what goes into our actuarial valuation. We collect from the staff with Dominic the membership data. These are all the members that Dominic just mentioned, the active participants, members who are currently working and accruing benefits. It also includes members who may have worked and have terminated, but have not yet started receiving a pension benefit, as well as retiree and beneficiary data. We also collect financial data. Then we calculate a market value. We receive the market value of assets, and we calculate a smooth value of assets to perform our analysis. We base all of our calculations on the plan provisions, which are the membership tiers that Dominic referred to. And then we also work very closely with the Board of Retirement on these two decision areas, which are the actuarial assumptions and the funding policies. And those are the primary inputs that go into our evaluation so that we can produce the calculations and results that come out of our calculations. And just a quick reminder on the role that actuarial assumptions and methods play in the evaluation. There are two ways that money comes in: contributions that are made by employers and members into the fund. We also have investment earnings on the money that is in the fund. So that's the way that the association earns money. That's how money comes into the plan. There are ways that money comes out, and those ways, benefit payments that are made to retired members and beneficiaries, as well as some expenses to administer the plan. The actuarial assumptions, they don't directly impact, they only calculate the current cost of the plan. The ultimate cost of the plan is based on the actual costs. We cannot pay benefits with assumed earnings. And so with that, we're going to move into the 2024 pension plan valuation results. This is a high-level summary here on this screen of the June 30th, 2024 actuarial funding valuation. So we start with the average employer contribution rate. We had a decrease as a percentage of active payroll from 48.8% as of June 30th, 2023 to 45.76 as of June 30th, 2024. That is the average contribution rate. No one in the plan no employer is actually paying that average. We have calculated by tiers, general, safety, all that. We have separate employer contribution rates that are much more detailed in our report. We're not going to get into those today. The average member contribution rate has increased from the prior year from 7.41 to 7.56. And in a couple slides, I will go over the reasons for that increase. We had a 9.36% return on the market value of assets in 23-24, and we smoothed that out to recognize we want to track the market value, but we also want to stabilize that when we're setting our contribution rates, and we determine what's called a valuation value of assets. Todd will also go over that in a few slides, and we come up with a smoothed rate of return of 7.3 for 23-24. Our funded ratio has increased from the prior year from 68.7 to 69.9, and we've seen a steady increase over the last 10 years in that funded ratio. The unfunded liability on a valuation basis, this is again on that smoothed value of assets, has increased from the prior year from $2.48 billion to $2.51 billion. We expected that to come down based on the contributions that were coming into the plan. However, due to plan experience during 23-24, specifically higher than expected salary increases during 2023-24, that actually increased the unfunded actuarial accrued liability by $154 million during the year. And then we also provide, for purposes, informational purposes, the funded ratio on a market value basis and a unfunded liability on a market value basis, which are very close to the valuation basis right now because our valuation value of assets and market value of assets are very close together at this time. With that, we can move to the next slide. This is a high-level summary of the membership demographics. We had a steady growth in active membership up until 2020, the start of the pandemic, and in 2021 we actually saw a slight decrease in the active member population. It remained level for a year, and it has now started to increase again. So we've seen a steady increase in the active member population over the last 2 years. And we've seen a steady growth in the number of retired members and beneficiaries.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Of course.
Thank you so much. So what explains that difference in the active member piece? What's your best sense about that?
During the COVID pandemic,
Right.
I think we did see, I think we all read about the great turnover of people turning over, leaving active membership data, moving on. I think there was some hiring freezes. I would have to defer to, of course, the employers in the specifics of what was going on with their hiring process, whether it was challenges rehiring members after the pandemic. I would have to defer to that.
But since 2020, you've almost had a 1,000 member increase in active members.
Correct,
Got
yes.
it. Okay, thanks.
Yep. And also just we have some average statistics on the membership demographics, changes from 23 to 2024. The average salaries increased about 7% from 23 to 24. And we also saw an increase in the average monthly benefit for retired members and beneficiaries. The plan provisions allow for up to a 2.5% cost of living adjustment, and that is based on changes in CPI from one year to the next. So there was a 2.5% cost of living adjustment that was granted to retired members and beneficiaries during that year. Moving on to the next slide, the investment experience for the year ending June 30th, 23-24. Again, I mentioned earlier, we calculate a smooth value of assets. So while the market rate of return was 9.36 for 23-24, we use an asset smoothing method that defers immediate recognition of individual gains and losses from one year to the next. It tracks the MVA, but it dampens the volatility in the asset value that we use to set the contribution rates. And the reason we do this is that the employers pay for the unfunded actuarial accrued liability. And we want to make sure that market values of assets can be relatively volatile. They can have large swings from one year to the next. And it can be very challenging for employers to set budgets when we have these large swings in the market value of assets and thus resulting swings in the unfunded actuarial accrued liability rate. So what we do is we use an asset smoothing method, which again dampens that volatility in the market rates and provides a smoother unfunded actuarial accrued liability basis for determining employer contribution rates, resulting in less volatility from one year to the next in the employer contribution rates. So we recognize some of the gain from the 9.36 return on market value of assets compared to the 7% assumption. We recognized a portion of that in 2023-2024, and we also included recognition of prior gains and losses from previous years in our asset smoothing method. And our valuation value, which is the value of assets that we use to determine the employer contribution rate, returned a 7.3% for 23-24. So we're sitting on a net deferred loss of $90 million, which will be recognized in this smooth value of assets over the next several years using our asset smoothing method. With that, we're going to look at the determination of the average employer contribution rate. So we start with the normal cost. This is the total normal cost. The normal cost is the cost for active members in the plan accruing an additional year of service. So when they accrue an additional year of service, they accrue an additional benefit. And so the normal cost is the cost for that 1 year accrual. The total normal cost is paid for by both the member and the employer, according to either the formula in the SERL or for PEPRA members, it is split 50-50. So the members pay half, employers pay half of the normal cost for PEPRA members. Those are members hired on or after January 1, 2013. Then we have the actuarial accrued liability. That is the actuarial accrued liability for the entire plan. We compare that to the valuation value of assets that I just spoke about on the prior page to determine our unfunded actuarial accrued liability. We use an amortization method to determine how much of that unfunded actuarial accrued liability we're going to pay in the current year. And we determine a dollar amount, and we spread that over the active payroll. And that portion of the contribution, any contributions paid towards the unfunded actuarial accrued liability, are paid for solely by the employer. So I mentioned that the normal cost is shared between the employer and the employee. The employer is on the hook for paying down that unfunded actuarial accrued liability through the unfunded actuarial accrued liability contribution rate. So with the employer's normal cost portion of 12.27 plus the unfunded actuarial accrued liability payment of 33.49, we'd come up with the average employer contribution rate of 45.76. And really, over 70% of the employer's contribution rate right now is coming from paying down the unfunded actuarial accrued liabilities. And with that, we can look at how the average employer contribution rate changed from one year to the next. From 2023, we had an average rate of 48.8% of payroll, so this is active member payroll. We express the contribution rate as a percentage of payroll, as that's how it's collected over a member's salary over their lifetime. And we show the changes from one year to the next. We saw a decrease from 48.8 to 45.76 as of June 30th, 2024. In our valuation, we have line items that detail how we get from the 48.8 to the 45.76. Those are laid out on this slide. I'm not going to walk through all of those today. I will just point out that the largest drivers from 2023 to 2024 were individual salary increases that were greater than our actuarial assumptions expected during the plan year. And then there's an offsetting effect. If you think of your home mortgage payment and you have an amortization schedule, and if you express that as a percentage of your salary, and all of a sudden your salary goes up by more than you expected it to go up, your payment, your amortization payment as a percent of that salary will actually go down because you have a payment and you have more salary to spread that over. So what that does, it actually decreases the contribution rate when we express it as a rate because we have an amortization payment and we have more payroll to spread that payment over. So that's what's causing this large decrease in the contribution rate. So while the dollars are not going down, the contribution rate expressed as a percentage of payroll, because we had a large growth in the payroll base, has gone down. The contribution rate has gone down as a percentage of payroll. And we can move to the next slide. We also just wanted to include for this presentation, specifically, Dominic mentioned that there are other employers in the plan. We wanted to look at the county contribution rates here. So we did also detail the general county members' contribution rate decrease here from 38.52 to 35.74 as a percentage of payroll. Again, we did have a large payroll growth, so the dollar amounts are actually increasing from the prior year. Similarly, for safety, we had a decrease in the contribution rate from 83.71% of payroll to 77.24% of payroll. So we had about a 6.5% decrease in the contribution rate for the safety county members. We'll take a quick look on the next slide at the member contribution rates. So if you remember, a few slides ago, I talked about how the normal cost is paid for by the employers and the members. So the members are only paying normal costs. They're not contributing towards the unfunded actuarial accrued liability. So for members in Tier 1 and Tier 2A, these are members hired prior to January 1st, 2023. They pay, based on the Searle formula, a contribution rate that is based on their entry age into the plan. There were no changes from the prior year to the current year on those entry age-based contribution rates for members in Tier 1 or Tier 2A. Tier 2B members, those are members covered under the PEPRA law. Those are members hired on or after January 1, 2013, and by law, they are required to contribute 50% of the normal cost. So they did have a slight increase in their contribution rates due to just a shift in the normal cost as a percentage of payroll. Generally, normal cost remains relatively level from one year to the next unless there are assumption changes or plan changes. Otherwise, it's just slight changes in membership demographics. So for Tier 2B members, there were very minimal changes in the member contribution rates. We did also include a reconciliation from the prior year to the current year in the average member contribution rate, and the average member contribution rate increased from 7.41% of payroll to 7.56% of payroll. Remember, this is an average rate, so we're having members who are in those legacy older tiers, the Tier 1 and Tier 2A, who are maybe moving into retirement, and they're being replaced by PEPRA members, these members in the Tier 2B, who are required to pay a higher level of contributions. So it's really just a shift in who is exiting the plan, being replaced by people coming into the plan. It's not individual member rates changing by these 15 basis points here. So in the increase in contribution rate, it really has to do with a shift from members leaving the legacy plans being replaced by new PEPRA members. So with that high-level summary of the 2024 evaluation, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Todd Towser, who's going to review some historical analysis and look forward for what's to come in the actuarial world.
Todd, yes. Good morning.
Todd, okay, that was hard to comprehend. She's brilliant beyond my wildest imagination. I can't do that, but yeah, if you could help us, with some a presentation in English, right?
Yes.
Because genius doesn't always translate perfectly. But if you could help give us some context, there are a lot of people who aren't clear about where Kern County is, and they don't know who to trust. And I know that's real, and that's a real problem. And trying to help the public comprehend in usable terms where we are and what we can actually do. Thank you, sir.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Todd Towser. I'm happy to be with you here today. 20 seconds on my background is I started my career, I've always been working in California pensions. Started my career at CalPERS, worked there for almost 10 years, led the asset liability work at CalPERS. I went from there to S&P Global Ratings, a credit rating agency. And they really wanted me to help them better understand pension plans. And more specifically, what decisions have been made in the past that have led to where plans are today, and what decisions are being made today, and where is that going to lead to in the future? So this whole trajectory of the health and sustainability of pension plans over time. And then for the last 6 years, I've been working at Siegel. I actually lead our national practice for public retirement. But we're going to be focusing on what I just described, that trajectory of what's happened in the past, and how has it led to where we are today, and then turning and looking forward about what we expect going forward into the future. So with that, we're starting with historical analysis to see how we've gotten to where we are today. The first is on investment returns. The first part of the slide, it looks almost stable. This is just our assumption on what we expect to earn on investments. So it actually has come down slowly over time, but it's been pretty stable. That assumption is currently at 7% a year. We hope to expect to earn 7% on our investment returns from one year to the next. This next line here that's in green, now in a few weeks I'm taking my kids to an amusement park for spring break. I mean, this is the roller coaster ride that is actually market investment returns from one year to the next. So you get your downs, you get your ups, you get your steep cliffs. We're all over the place on market investment return, just by nature of the market. There's not anything wrong with the investment team. The market is very volatile. And so we see that here in the green. And I hope you all can see the screen that I'm talking about. So you see the green, and what Molly mentioned is we use an asset.
I'm sorry, what does market value mean? Can you simplify that?
The actual return on investments, just pure actual return.
So the profit?
Or loss, the gain or loss.
Oh, the actual return, whether it's profit or loss?
Yes.
Got it.
In any given year. And so Molly has been mentioning this tricky concept, which is actuarial smoothing. And basically what we do is we say, well, that market volatility is too much. It's bouncing up and down. If we just fed that through into how we set contribution rates in a given year, we'd see a lot of ups and downs in contribution rates. And that wouldn't be very good for the county. So instead, we do this, we call this actuarial smoothing process, where we take the gain or loss in any given year, and instead of recognizing it all in 1 year, we just spread it out. We recognize it over a 5-year period of time.
Madam Chair, can I verify or clarify one thing?
Please.
Oh, please.
When you said that wouldn't be very good for the county, I think I know what that meant, but I want to make sure everybody else here understands what that means.
All I mean by that, oh,
Let me say it as bluntly and as crudely as I'm going to say it.
sure, please.
If you had a huge return in the market value, let's say it was up 25 or 30%,
Yes.
we might get an extremely low bill, the county, right, for that year, for that experience.
Sure.
And the next year, if you have the exact opposite, you have a big down year in the market, we might have, instead of 200 or 250 million, it might be $500 million or north of that. And how would we budget for that on an annual basis? How would we even come close?
That's right.
To making an assumption about, in our budget documents, what that number would be? Am I close to that?
You're exactly right. It just creates a lot of volatility that you'd see in the contribution rates going up and down. So we don't want to see so much volatility. So instead, whatever happens in the market, we spread it out over 5 years so that the ups and downs can kind of offset one another, to your point, and we have relatively smooth contribution rates from one year to the next. That's the point of asset smoothing, and that's what's shown here on this slide.
Is it like predicting elections?
And I don't know if that's smooth, but
My point is, it's not good for the county in that we get a break and the employees get the short end of the stick because of this smoothing. It helps everyone out in a manner of speaking.
yeah, the employer, the county and the other employers, they pay for all of the unfunded liability contribution rate. So they would take on all of that volatility, but we try to smooth it out. So while we still care about funding what we need to fund, we do it in a more measured pattern over time. That's the point of this slide. So I will move on to look at funded ratio. You have to be careful with funded ratio. Funded ratio is just assets divided by liabilities. It's a really simple concept. It's easy to understand. But it's important to keep in mind that funded ratio is just measuring at one single day, one point in time where the plan is at. We do an actuarial evaluation as of June 30th, 2023, June 30th, 2024. It's the funded ratio on that day. So there's still things that are going to happen from one year to the next. And so we want to be measured in how much weight we put on a single measurement of funded ratio. Nevertheless, we care very much about the trajectory over time. We want to be going towards 100% funded, meaning that we have enough assets on hand to pay for our liabilities. We have enough assets to pay for the benefits that we promised our members. So here on this graph, you can see the market value of assets funded ratio. In the global financial crisis back in 2009, we were at our lowest point in terms of funded ratio, which makes sense, right? We had lost a lot of investments that year in the plan, and we were down near 40% funded, which is not a place you want to be in. But you can see the trajectory since then. The plan has put in place a solid set of funding policies to fund the plan over time, to work towards paying off the unfunded liability over time. And so that ratio has gone up over time in a very steady fashion since 2009 all the way to 2024. If you can click the next one. This is the smooth value, what we were just talking about, the smooth value of assets that we use. Much more measured pattern, but it follows the same trajectory as you see on the market value. Really good example is going from 2020 to 2021, 2022. 2020, 2021, we had a really good investment year, to your point. And then 21 to 22, we had a quite poor investment year, and they were back to back. So you see the market value jump up and jump down. The smooth value is very steady across those 2 years because it allows the gains and losses to offset one another and keep things measured. So you can see the progression here. We have certainly increased from down at that low to near about 70% funded, but we still have work to do. We want to get to 100% funded instead of 70. So more to come, and we're going to talk about how we're getting there. Any questions on this slide? Okay, so let's move along. This is the last slide, and there's a lot going on here on the historical analysis before we turn and look towards the future. This slide is trying to show you, well, what has actually caused employer contribution rate increases or decreases in any given year over the last 10 years. So you have this black line that kind of snakes across the screen. That's the net change in employer contribution rate from one year to the next. So anything below zero means the employer contribution rate went down. Anything above zero means the employer contribution rate went up. And we've sourced these out based on different causes. So for example, you have this kind of burnt orange color. Those are investment gains or losses. Anything above zero means it was an investment loss in a given year, which caused contribution rates to go up a little. More recently, we've had better investment returns, so we've seen some gains on the investment side that have helped decrease contribution rates a little. You can see demographic experience, which is in the yellow. Lately, that has also helped decrease contribution rates because those yellow bars are below zero. So this really tells a story of 1 year to the next, what specifically has happened to the plan that has caused an increase or decrease in contribution rates. The other big story on this graph is the big purple bars. You can see those purple bars on the slide. They're all increasing contribution rates in the year that those have happened. That's the plan actually adjusting the actuarial assumptions, the underlying assumptions that help us value the liabilities. Those assumptions, for a variety of reasons, have had to become more conservative over time. And when the assumptions become more conservative, that means that costs have to go up. One easy example that you can hang on to is our members are living longer than they were in the past. So we've had to account for that because we're going to pay benefits over a longer retirement portion of their life. And so that means more expensive, but it's good for our members. They get to live longer and enjoy their benefits for longer. So the plan proactively accounts for that and builds it into valuation so we can make sure to have the money promised to our members for that longer life the members today have than they would have had 10, 20, 30 years ago. So with that, we're going to turn around and look towards the future. This is a really interesting graph. You can see it starts in 2024 and it goes forward. So this graph in particular is looking at the unfunded actuarial accrued liability of the plan. That's that UAAL on the slide. It's the unfunded liabilities that we have, and we need to pay off in order to get to 100% funded, in order to have our assets equal our liabilities. And so over time, as the plan progresses, there's a variety of ways that we get unfunded liability coming into the plan when our assumptions aren't met and we have a loss, or if we have members that get better benefits than were promised in the past. That doesn't happen now after PEPRA, but it has happened in the past. There's a variety of reasons why we can have unfunded liability. So here on the screen, we show by source what different forms of unfunded liability we have. The red is kind of dominates this chart. The red is the restart amortization layer. This was started 20 years ago. We had a lot of unfunded liability at that time. We had increased benefits given at that time, and we decided to pay it off over a 30-year period of time. We've already gone through 20 years of that. So we're basically in our last 10 years of paying down this big red restart layer. And then there's other reasons for gains and losses, the greens and the blues, but those are actually quite small, all things considered. The unfunded liability is primarily driven, and the payments on the unfunded liability are primarily driven by this original restart layer. So if you go to the next slide, you can see the payments. These are the contributions that the employers have to make into the plan to pay off the unfunded liability. And as Molly mentioned before, we have a normal cost payment, our members earning their next year of service, and then we have a larger payment due to this legacy unfunded liability we have. And so once we pay that unfunded liability down, the cost to the plan will go down significantly. You can see this here on the screen, where we're getting into our last 10 years of paying off this restart layer. And then once that red layer is eliminated, it's fully paid off, you can see costs coming down quite significantly for the plan and for the employers of the plan.
2034.
Yeah, so there's this kind of big cliff staring at us out in the future. But there is hope that when we get there, that costs will be quite significantly different than they are today for the contributions to the plan.
Different how? What does that look like?
So the
Just generally speaking.
Yeah, the unfunded liability payment right now I think is 35% of payroll. For every member you have, you've got to pay another third of a member's cost in terms of unfunded liability going towards their benefit. And you can see here the cost, the red part of the cost helps drive total unfunded liability in dollar amounts to over $300 million. And then 2 years later, once the red is all gone, you're at $50 to $60 million. So that's a very big decrease in annual costs that I'm talking about here.
Is it fair to say that in the past, different supervisors, not these ones, but different supervisors gave, based on an optimistic view of the future, very generous benefits package that are now very expensive to the county and that we arguably almost can't afford?
Yeah, so I would expand that statement a little bit across California. So not just here, across
Thank you.
California.
I didn't know that.
Most local governments and at the state level gave benefit increases right around the turn of the century. all of our plans, the average plan in California was over 100% funded, more assets than liabilities. So everyone wanted to get some of this extra money that they thought they had.
Sure.
The problem was they granted these benefit increases, which under California law are permanent, but the surplus that existed proved to be very temporary with the dot-com bubble burst, and then we had the global financial crisis, and so a lot of assets were lost, but the benefits were still there. So of course, in 2013, the Public Employees Pension Reform Act was passed, called PEPRA, and that introduced new tiers of benefits that were lower, but it's only for new members hired into the plan at that time. So we have all our legacy members still that receive the higher level of benefits, and then we have newer members coming in at the lower level of benefits. But you're exactly right. Across California, higher benefits were granted because of surplus. At the time, it turned out that it wasn't long-lasting in terms of that surplus.
I'm a 1.6, sir. I'm part of the correction.
Oh, yeah, I have the lowest retirement tier in the state, and I think the nation, which, you know, it's just the way it goes. But my understanding is that even here in Kern, at times when we had $100 a barrel oil, that was a generous time for Kern County, and that the supervisors were generous to the employees. Now we do not have $100 a barrel oil. We're not even allowed to drill at the moment. I mean, we are waltzing into bankruptcy by 2030 if things don't change politically with the state of California. So, you know, this just compounds what a very serious economic reality is for Kern County, is what it sounds like to me.
Yes. At the same time, the funding policies in place for the plan are responsible and do work to pay off the unfunded liabilities. So if they're stuck to and the course has stayed, if you will get to a point where unfunded liabilities come down
2034.
and contribution rates come down, as you can see
34.
on this slide.
Yeah, and then Mother Nature corrects.
Okay, please keep going.
All right, so this slide is actually quite interesting. There's a few different colors going on, but I'll just break it down in its simplest form. Basically, we can talk about, 2013, we introduced this new tier of benefits for new members. We call them PEPRA members. And headcount-wise, maybe 50% of the plan is in this new category, this new member category. But liability-wise, liability for the plan, our new tiers with the lower benefit formulas are a very small percentage of liability. The top two colors, there's an orange and a blue. You can barely see that original orange and the lighter blue. Those are the new tiers of benefits liability-wise in 2023 and beyond. And the red and the dark blue, the big ones, those are the older legacy members' liabilities with the higher tier of benefits. So even at this point in time, from a liability perspective, the vast majority of plan liabilities with the older, richer benefit formulas. And then we projected this forward. So you can see as time goes on, we have those members retiring and we have them eventually passing away, and they're gonna be replaced by the newer tier members. So far enough out in the future, you see a lot more of the liability associated with the lower benefited level folks, but it takes a long time to get there. So this really helps provide some perspective on benefit reform in California when you can only do it for new members coming in.
But the savings are both the natural process of people passing on, retirees, which will pass on as we will, but also the lower retirement benefits for new employees too. That's
Yes.
a much lower cost. I mean, ours is like 1.67, which is, that's very low.
Yeah, so you see that progression happening here, but it takes quite a long time to fully realize it.
Okay, thank you.
And you have to keep in mind, it's not only the legacy members who are still active today, but then they have to retire, and then they might live 30 years in retirement. So it's a long time to see this turnover happen within the plan. The next slide is also a very interesting one.
Todd, can we talk about the green line real quick too, and how the assets are projected to rise to equal the liability at around the same time, 2035?
Sure, yeah. So you can see the green line with the green circles, if you will. That's also helping us compare assets to liabilities. Right now, 2024, it's lower than our total liabilities, which again just means we're not 100% funded yet. We haven't fully funded the benefits promised. But that is projected to steadily rise, and you get to about 2035, 2036, and that green line is expected to fully match our liabilities and even maybe create a little cushion above going forward. So that's the projection of the plan to work towards full funding over time. It just so happens also that you got to wait all the way till about 2045 where over half the liabilities are associated with the new members, the lower tiers of benefits. But at that point, we do project the plan to be over 100% funded, and the total cost to the plan would be lower for our employers. All right, this is the last graph we have here for today. This is on cash flows. So when you think about cash flows, Molly mentioned before, there are ways to bring money into the plan, and then there are ways that it goes out. We bring money in by employer and employee contribution rates. That's the red and the blue. And then we pay out benefit payments, which is good. That's what we want to do. It's why we exist as a plan, is to pay benefit payments to our members in retirement. You can see that as a plan gets more mature, benefit payments going out become more than the contributions coming in. We call that negative cash flows. In any given year, we take in some contributions, but we have to pay more out in benefits. Well, where does that gap, where do we fill that gap from? Where it's investment return. And that's okay. That's a reasonable thing. We take in money ahead of time. We pre-fund the pension system so that we have enough investments that we can use some of those investments to pay benefits. That's the entire purpose of a pension plan. You could see, though, over time, the negative cash flows, if you will, the difference between the green and the red and blue bar grows. And once we get to 2035, 2036, where the contribution rate is projected to come down quite significantly, at that point, the negative cash flows become quite large. All that means is that the retirement plan has to manage their investments in such a way that they can produce their cash and they can be ready to sell assets in order to continue to pay benefits for our members. So this is just a long-term perspective on the cash flows in and out of the pension system.
May I comment on that part?
Please.
I want the board to be aware that I sit on the KCERA board, that is a subject of much conversation with the investment consultant and that team in an effort over the next several years to adjust the portfolio to pay out more in income, interest, dividends, rents, what have you, so we can make those payments. This is not lost on us that we know that the portfolio has to change. We have a lot of confidence in our CIO, but that slide right there should give everyone a moment to think, what the hell are you doing about it, right? Well, we are addressing it, but we're starting several years before we think it will begin.
Yeah, so again, not wrong, it should happen, but there are strategies to take into account for that, which you mentioned. So the last two slides here, really quick, just looking forward at the next few years of projected contribution rates for budgeting purposes. So you can see the 25-26, that's what Molly talked about, coming down from the 38 to the 35. Pretty steady anticipation of contribution rates. This is on the general county side of thing without the courts. You can see it rises a little bit back into the 36s, but don't expect it going back up to that 38.5% level that we saw in 24-25. Important to keep in mind here that this is projections as we know of today. We could have investment gains and losses. We could have other things happen. This is not set in stone, but it is a good starting place for the anticipation of what's to come. The next slide is looking at the same thing, except it's for the safety side of things. The safety rates are much higher. They've just based on benefit levels and other factors. But again, 24-25 was that high 83, came down significantly for 25-26 to 77, and stays pretty steady. It rises a little bit, but in the baseline projection does not get back above 80% over the next 5-year period of time. And with that, that concludes our presentation, but we're happy to take any more questions you may have.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board at this time? Supervisor Couch.
I have just a couple of comments. I want to, first of all, thank you on a very good presentation, all three of you. I want to stress and underline just a couple of points that were made. Back on slide 9, I think it was, the point was made at least once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, that there were higher than expected salary increases in the 23-24 time period. What was the assumption? You make several assumptions. I think the assumed salary increases, I'm sorry, you're going to get your chance here in a moment, were I think 4%, is that correct?
So the baseline is 3%, but it's
tricky.
It's now
3, I think it was 4.
Oh, back.
You might not have been working for us at the time.
Yeah, you're talking back 5-10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. yeah, feel free to come up.
There's three components of our salary increase assumption. We have the inflation component, which is 2.5%. Then we have 0.5%, which is salaries growing at a faster rate than inflation. And then we also have a merit and longevity component. So
The salary increase assumption on an annual basis, I think was 4.
yes,
It's now 3.
because inflation has come down over time.
And the reason we brought it down, in my opinion, was there had been many, many years where there were no raises given for a variety of reasons. And so the experience of the plan was far less than what the assumed rate was. Now,
yes.
you probably couched it differently. But we just didn't get very many raises for a long time because we couldn't. And the plan was assuming much more than that. So we had an actuarial gain because of that. Sorry. I also want to defend our predecessors a little bit on their decisions. But you are correct, Chair. There were generous increases approved. There were also a couple of things that happened. The really large increases that I recall probably occurred in 2000, 2001. Does that make sense?
Sounds right.
Okay. What else happened in 2001?
The dot-com bubble burst.
9/11 also. The
Yeah.
World Trade Center fell and the market fell in half. And every pension plan in the country could have been fully funded on September 10th, and it was way underfunded on December 12th. Or September 12th. It was just a fact of life. And then as we clawed our way out of that, the country and the asset values in general, we had the 2008, 2009 mortgage crisis, which created those losses, if you will, that we are amortizing over a long period of time that the employer pays for, correct? Not the employees.
Yeah, there were significant losses. The biggest loss is that restart layer in red, which predates the global financial crisis. But we did have additional losses we had to work through.
So, and lastly, I want to make this point. Our employees, all of us, see on our paycheck, you see a line item where you have a deduction for your employee contribution to the plan. Where do our employees see the employer contribution, which, if I'm reading this, if I'm interpreting it correctly, is on average roughly 45% of payroll?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, they would not see it in their paycheck. That is something that we have to consider when we're preparing the county budget. Because although the employees do not see that portion, we have to write a check every pay period to the Retirement Association for that bill. If I make a few extra comments, I think we do have a lower retirement tier 1.67, but I also want to emphasize that the new employees get a 6% premium pay, and in addition, if they contribute a portion of their premium pay to the deferred comp, they also get a match of 6%. So new employees could potentially get an additional 12% of compensation that older, legacy employees do not get. As I introduced the item, I mentioned that the retirement plan is essential to our employees' future financial security. Although they're not seeing it right now in their paycheck. The county is making that contribution to the Retirement Association on their behalf, and we have to account for it. You saw the projection that in 10 years, our costs potentially could go down again. It gets assessed every year. I'd also want to remind your board that in 2000, prior to me starting with working in the county administrative office, we also issued pension bonds. And we took that cash and gave it to the Retirement Association to pay for that extra benefit that employees were, granted. And unfortunately, a few months after, the market crashed and it's all gone, and now I'm paying the unfunded, but we also paying the pension bonds. We have 5 more years of pension bonds. So we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but we do have some major costs that we have to incorporate it in our county budget for the next 10 years as we continue moving forward. I know Supervisor Perez mentioned oil and gas and how those revenues are declining. You're absolutely right. So that's why we have to be extremely cautious in planning for the future. We have to assess what revenues we have coming in. Your board, previous board, made a promise to our employees that we have to meet. It is our obligation. It's the law. We have to meet that obligation. And so we're going to continue doing financial planning for this budget, for future budgets, until we get to a point where hopefully, if the crystal ball that Siegel has works out perfectly, we'll see that in 2030, 35, we'll see that big reduction. I think 200 million can do a lot of good to our community if we're not paying it to the retirement plan. We can do so many service for our community. We can do a lot more for our employees. So that's hopefully where we get in 2035.
Thank you. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Is there any, we're going to go to the public for a comment, correct, Kathy? We're not going to go to 19 yet.
Madam Chair.
Okay, sorry, Supervisor Peters, I just saw you there. Elsa, is there anything else that you think the public should take away in simple terms, what we've heard from today, other than what you just stated now?
I think we did this last year. I think it's important that we present this kind of information to be transparent and for people to understand that there's some costs that you don't see on your paycheck, but we make some promises, and we're gonna it's our commitment to, fulfill those promises is the law, and we have to account for them.
Thank you very much, Elsa. Supervisor Peters?
Thank you. I don't expect you to have the numbers right now, but could we get an idea at some point in the future what kind of savings we might get if we prioritized any reserves or extra funding that we might have toward paying down some of that unfunded liability before that 5-year period is over?
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, yes, we can do that. There is a benefit, but there's also a risk. When I have that reserve in my county treasurer, I have a guaranteed return. I mean, it is guaranteed. We have market losses and gains, but normally I have yet to see a year in 25 years in my career that we don't earn something. When you have it, give it to Casera, just like we did with the pension bonds. There's the volatility in the market. They can do great investments, and that money, produces savings gains. That money could also be lost. And so there's some options out there. There's some companies that, say, put your reserve into our investments, don't give it to the plan, you'll produce better results. We certainly can look at that. But again, there's a risk. We've done this before with the pension bonds. I think over time, once the pension bonds are paid off, we'll do a complete analysis to see if it was a wise move. But with the market crash in 2000, with the mortgage things, we're paying approximately 4.5% interest rate, which is lower than the assumed rate of return. You would think it's a good investment, but we will not know until the pension bonds are paid off and we see the history of the retirement plan and how they perform during the same period. But
Okay.
we can certainly come back with information.
Perfect, thank you.
I just want to say thank you.
Supervisor Flores?
Thank you, staff, and thank you, Dominic, and thank you, Supervisor Couch, for your expertise on Casera and your service. And just, it's a reminder that these are taxpayer dollars, that this pension, the trajectory is good, but it's also a reminder, even in the best of times, we have to control for externalities because those bad things happen. 9/11, COVID.com, we don't know what the next one is, so we have to be measured in our approach for this, measured an approach for how we tackle all the county dollars and our budget, and everything is interconnected. And thank you that you work for us, and thank you for your presentation. It was very helpful, and I hope the public enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so we're going to close that portion. I'm going to open it up to the public so that, and item number 18, Kern County Employees Retirement Association Actuarial Overview Presentation. If you have comments on that, please come down and provide them now. Otherwise, we are going to get to public presentations, but we want to make full presentations about the county's financial status, attempting to get on the same page with you. Any public comments at this time? Okay, I'm going to come back here. Is this a receive and file? Okay,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
Oh, please come to the mic if you have something to say. Give us your name and then ask your question.
I have two comments and then
Okay.
a suggestion. Remember, I always come up with ideas?
Of
No,
course. Mm-hmm.
You know me, Mr. Garcia.
Can you say your full name?
George
Okay, George,
Garcia.
for the record. Okay, thank you, George. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. God bless, God bless, God bless. See, I've experienced, okay, remember the blood drives and so forth? Okay, the prison, well, then again, see, the plasma and the blood areas, they are being contaminated. Okay, I've interviewed some of the clients that donate these plasma and blood. They kind of, take a substance, maybe self-medication. But then again, see the jails, the type O, the type B, rare, this would be an adequate issue to look into.
Mr. Garcia, thank you.
Also, another idea. See, the numbers and super mega and all this, if we get a list, maybe in this county, get a list of everybody put on and, contribute, well, donate and, fund, maybe a certain amount, okay? But just for an example, $20, just for an example, okay? And you're working, see, that's the only way you can get on the list. But then again, see, we need another way of paying off this, numbers and so forth, that the odds of somebody winning. But if we start this in this county, the numbers, for, say, names A to Z, please.
Thank you.
Winning,
Thank you.
A lot
Thank you,
of-
Mr. Garcia. It's nice to see you. Thank you. You want to comment on 18, sir? Come on down.
I'm
Good
not sure
morning.
where I am.
Go ahead.
I am looking for possibly, in that budget, is there areas that we can do the Doge thing in our county to realign some of the money that may not be spent efficiently or not looked at thoroughly? Is there any of that we can go
David,
through
you wanna
and
comment on that?
adjust some of that?
Maybe for item 20.
Supervisor Couch.
Why don't we discuss that offline? I think we talked about it at our last meeting. I think you brought it up at our last meeting, correct?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about what you have in mind, and we will bring it back. Thank you.
Okay, we'll just wait 1 second on that item as we wrap up this matter. Ms. King, so just 1 moment, okay? If you want to stand over to the side, we're going to wrap up this item. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for your comments. Appreciate it very much. Any other public comments on the actuarial items presented? Okay, I believe we have a motion to receive and file. David, you made that? Supervisor Couch, excuse me. Peters made a second. Can we vote on that matter now, please?
The motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. Okay, we've got items 19 to 20 we're going to get to in a moment, but I have a matter here that should have happened this morning, and our calendar got confused and turned around. My apologies, but I want to take that matter up now. Under board member announcements and reports, if I can turn my colleagues' attention to that matter, and the public, of course, that is item number... That's item number 11. Thank you. So under board member announcements or reports, Supervisor Flores, we'll get to you in just a moment. I have one myself. As you are aware, February is Black History Month. And we didn't have an official presentation for the agenda, but I had the great privilege in the last week or so of talking with Xenia King and her army of public servants in this community, intervening and loving on our community. And we had this opportunity to come here today, which is the last day, the last opportunity we have to acknowledge a couple of things. Black History Month, and I'd like to hear from you, Xenia, just your thoughts and your heart and what you do. And is Angel Lee here as well? Yes, she is. Okay, so I'm going to join you at the podium. We're just going to take a few moments for this, and we're going to get back to the very exciting matters of actuarial work. So let's do that, Xenia. So, colleagues, let me see, Rose here, nice. Colleagues, I have been working with Mothers Against Gang Violence for the last few years. I know you know who they are. They are a presence that is not to be ignored in Kern County. They are deeply rooted in this community. They deeply love, respect, admire, and are committed to the well-being of our communities. They take a strong stance against gang violence, but they recognize love is a critical piece in that response. Love and accountability and partnership and community. That's what you do. I'm so impressed and moved by you. It's an honor to acknowledge what you do in this community and what you have done for years and what you do so valiantly, and which I expect you to keep doing. And I'll stand with you in that. Stand beside you or even behind you and hold your bags and coffee. Yeah, you're that good, Xenia. The floor is yours.
Okay. First off, I'd like to say good morning to the board. Jeff Flores, Chris Parlier, David Couch, and Philip Peters. We'd like to start off with Mothers Against Gang Violence. Here you go. Mothers Against Gang Violence, alongside with Angel Lee, is here today to present a token of our appreciation to Leticia Perez of Bakersfield, California. The Bakersfield Woman magazine, because she has not done a great representation for the Hispanics here in Greater Bakersfield, but also for the African Americans here as well. And we want to say thank you so very much.
Thank you, Xenia. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So let's take a look. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Matches my red, white, and blue. Right? Is that beautiful? Mothers Against Gang Violence. Goodness. What an honor, huh? You know, this group of women, and there's men involved too, but women really drive it. Whenever we have a tragedy of gun violence, and we know the impact that has multiple generations after it occurs, as these folks know personally. These women will gather with baskets and goodies and comfortable clothing and little booties for the socks, right? Bath salts. They will bring these packages to people who are suffering in that loss. And they just wrap their arms around them. They love them and they let them know they're not alone. These are extraordinary people. And if there's any member of the public who is looking to be involved in an authentic grassroots about the people movement, it is Mothers Against Gang Violence. And I stand with you, ladies, not just in February, but in every month. I cannot tell you what an honor this is for me. I'm not worthy, but I sure as hell will take it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, please do.
We're also here to address a pressing issue here in Greater Bakersfield. Okay, here we go. Surrounding gang violence, which regrettably resulted in the loss of life over Black History Weekend. This is a daunting task. Discussing is distressing and unsettling. MACV has worked diligently to ensure the safety of youth, families, and our community, resulting in reduction in gang and gun violence in Greater Bakersfield. However, it appears to be reoccurring, bringing fear to our community. We have organized a community diversity meeting in conjunction with MACV and Hood Love, scheduled for 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Martin Luther King Park. We are inviting, let me say this again, Chris Parlier, Jeff Flores, David Couch, Philip Peters, because I know that you represent what Leticia is going to already be there. You know, she rides with us. So I am inviting you because I know that you represent different districts here in Bakersfield. And this is not a matter for just us. This is a matter for all of us. What makes our community safe is that all of us can come together and come up with a resolution and a solution for our community, for our people, for the Black and brown people. Because we are the ones that's here in Kern County with this problem of gang and gun violence, killing and murdering each other as if it meant absolutely nothing. You know, so this is my purpose of today. We're giving a schedule from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Martin Luther King Park, and then we're inviting you there. By collaborating as a team, we can maintain safety in our community. And I hope that you guys can consider this, think over it. You have a little time to think about it. I know that we're just springing this on you, but if you can find in your heart, and I'm begging you, because I'm begging you to come out and see what is happening in our community, because this is what stops the lives of our young people. This is what tears them down. This is what tears our families down, you know. And we, as a team, we can bring a stop to this. I know this. This is what I fight for, and I will die. I will go to my grave fighting for this. It's going to be Thursday, the 27th. It's going to be Thursday the 27th, February the 27th, from 6 to 8 o'clock at Martin Luther King Park, inside the building. So you will have safety when you come. Thank you so very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Jeff, did you have a board member announcement?
Yeah, real quickly.
From earlier,
Yeah,
please.
thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. There was an incident at Hart Park about just over a week ago that involved a raptor. An owl was trapped with upside down on a tree with fishing wire and a hook, had an injury, and it's been a problem along our waterways, along Hart Park. Even Lake Isabella, there was a pelican that had an issue with fishing line. Anyway, it was really fortuitous because the right people came together at the right time. There was, at the Nature Center, there's the Kern River Parkway Foundation, Kathleen Chambers. There was a student from BC who incidentally was a paramedic. There happened to be a tree trimmer who was well-versed in climbing trees that got up there and helped. Everyone rallied to save the bird, and they sent it to a sanctuary in Ojai. In any case, my commissioner for parks has been championing, and others in the community has been championing tackle boxes along our waterways that would give anglers, convenient access to put their hardware away and make it safer for our animals and our people. And so a lot of questions were asked, and what's going on, and what's the status, and why can't we do that? In any case, it is being worked on, and there's been great movement. I want to thank and welcome our Director of General Services who oversees parks. He's ahead of the curve. He's working with the Kern County Audubon Society. I want him just to give him a quick update for the edification of the public on where this stands and what we're doing to protect nature and work with our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Welcome. Good to see you, Jeff.
Thank you, Chairman Perez. And members of the board, thank you for the referral. It was a great collaboration by a lot of different people, kind of an ad hoc way, and saved. It was an owl. And a lot of people each had a part in the success. So To that end, we have been working with the Audubon Society and have an agreement with them in place, a gratuitous services agreement with them to provide 6 fishing line and hook receptacles. You'll see them in other parts along the Kern River as well. I think in the city they have some. But we have an agreement in place. We have the receptacles. They have yet to be installed, but I have a commitment by my team to have them installed by the end of this week.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, they weren't installed prior to the events of last week, but they will be. You have my commitment that they will be installed by the end of this week. And their intention, there will be a sign. They'll be mounted on poles, and the sign will give instructions about their use. And the Audubon Society, Harry Love, and the other folks in his group will be maintaining and replacing them if necessary, pulling out the hooks and line when they get full. So we've got, again, a great participation from good stakeholders as well as good community partners.
Thank you. Thank you for the update, and thank you for the proactive approach in making it better. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Supervisor Parlier, I see you're punched in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So about a week ago, I went on a ride-along with the Kern County Sheriff's Department. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department. It was a great experience. Fortunately, nothing happened while we were out there, but I really got to see different areas of the communities I represent. And I want to thank Sergeant Romo for his time and expertise explaining it not only to me, but my field rep for West Kern. I also want to thank Josh Chaplin, the Public Works Director, regarding some cleanup efforts for code enforcement in both West and East Kern, actively attacking those problems and taking care of them. I know that I'm not only appreciative, but those communities are too. Now, Mothers Against Gang Violence, when I was on a Bakersfield City Council, I was able to get shot spotter technology for those areas around MLK Park. Had nothing to do with my area per se, but it was the right thing to do for the city of Bakersfield. I hope there's an opportunity to bring that technology to the county areas too. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chris, I didn't realize we didn't have it. Thank you for that update. And thank you for your announcement. We're going to move back to the agenda now, not seeing any other supervisors plugged in. We're going to get to item 19. This is the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award received from the Government Finance Officers Association for fiscal year 2024-2025 recommended budget receive and file. Number 19, Nancy, the floor is yours.
Madam Chair, members of the board, today I just wanted to take a moment and recognize and thank the CAO Budget Division as well as the department heads and their staff for their due diligence and support during the budget process. The county has received the prestigious award for Distinguished Budget Presentation from the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, for the 24-25 county budget. The Distinguished Budget Presentation Awards program was established by GFOA in 1984 to encourage and assist all government units to prepare and publish an easy to read and understandable budget document of the highest quality. To receive this award, the budget document is reviewed and scored on numerous award criteria categories by expert government budget professionals that ensure the document serves as a clear and comprehensive policy document, financial plan, operations guide, and communications device. My office strives to promote transparency and excellence in financial reporting, and we encourage everyone to view the document in our transparency portal at kerncounty.com. That concludes my comments, and just wanted to recognize my office and the departments, and action is to receive and file.
Action is receive and file. Colleagues, regarding the 2024-2025 budget award, which we are about to hear and get a presentation on in the next item, the full picture of Kern County's budget. But for now, regarding the award, any comments from the public? Okay, I'm going to close that and come back, and the motion is to receive and file. Colleagues?
Motion and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Flores.
Thank you. Mr. Flores has just stepped away. He'll be right back. Okay, item number 20 is the mid-year status report for fiscal year 2024-2025 budget and proposed mid-year budgetary adjustments recognizing unanticipated revenue in the amount of $13,772,922 from property taxes, one-time sales and use taxes, and other discretionary funding sources, et cetera. You see it in the agenda. I understand that Elsa will begin this presentation. If you could please stay mindful that a lot of this stuff is difficult to comprehend, and in a dry presentation, we can lose a lot of the meaning. So I appreciate an emphasis on letting the public understand, what this means. I think letting them know what Sacramento not allowing us to permit has done to Kern County in usable, friendly terms. I think that I would really appreciate that, and I know you're great at that. So, Elsa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I will make my best attempt to take a very complex process into a simplified presentation. I am not going to talk to you about actuarial valuations, but remember, they do play a very important part in our budget. So today we will be presenting the county mid-year budget report for the fiscal year 24-25. We will update your board on the progress of the budget plan and propose budgetary adjustments to meet departmental needs and ensure sufficient funding and appropriations exist to end the fiscal year in a positive fiscal position based on our projections. It is important to note that the projections do not reflect any potential impacts of a federal funding freeze or reductions, since the amounts or timing are unpredictable at this time. If any federal or state impacts materialize, we will return to your board with additional information and potential adjustments. Before we dive into the specifics of our financial outlook, it is important to establish a shared understanding of key financial concepts that shape county operations. Every dollar we allocate and spend must be carefully planned and accounted for, which is why we rely on two essential tools: budgets and financial reports. The budget presents our financial roadmap. It outlines how the county will allocate its revenue and fund public services. A budget plan changes. It is not a static document. Emergencies, economic and political changes, unexpected expenses, natural disasters, they all occur, and we have to adjust the plan. Financial reports, on the other hand, tell the story of what happened, providing a snapshot of revenue and expenditures and anticipated carry forward, or what we call fund balance. To better understand how public funds flow through our county, we also will cover today key account types in budget and explore two of our largest revenue sources: property tax and sales tax. These revenues form the backbone of county services, so having a solid grasp on how they work, it is essential for sound financial decision-making. In order to be transparent with the public, the county and departments provide multiple reports to keep our taxpayers informed of where tax dollars are being spent. This includes financial reports, such as the County Annual Comprehensive Report and the Single Audit Report that includes all the federal funding spent. 3 budget reports are issued to plan and document the budget process. In addition, the Continuing Disclosure Report and the Annual Debt Transparency Report inform investors and credit analysts of the county's finances. And we finally have compliance and accountability reports and departmental audits by state and federal agencies, which are also performed in all county operations. In front of you have a very simple slide of our county budget. And as a reminder, the county budget was adopted on August 27, 2024, and totals $4.4 billion. It also included funding for 8,853 positions. Some of these positions were allocated but were not funded. And this is part of the adjustments that we're proposing today. This year's budget continues to enhance services for residents of unincorporated communities with Measure K, making significant investments in public safety and infrastructure. Additionally, aided with restricted state and federal funds, the budget allocates funds to improve roads, enhance behavioral health and substance abuse services, and provide social services and support the most vulnerable county residents. With the addition of discretionary revenue this year, your board was able to provide a county-wide cost of living adjustment for all employees costing over $22 million annually. The fiscal year 24-25 adopted budget was balanced, relying on $3.9 billion in new revenue and transfers from restricted funds and $497 million in fund balance or carry forward from the prior fiscal year. Those are unused resources of over-collected revenue from the prior year. The adopted budget is continually monitored by my office, my staff, and departments, and adjustments are processed throughout the fiscal year in order to accommodate the changes and the needs of county departments and operations in our community. Alex Alba and Joseph Arreola will explain some of the major discretionary revenue sources and the major expenditure categories. The very detailed report that we included on the agenda provides explanations for expenditures for all operating departments at the mid-year. We are highlighting expenditures and revenue collections. We are also highlighting those departments that have anticipated deficits associated with increased costs, and also highlighting those that will be able to carry forward resources to the next fiscal year. As we progress in the fiscal year, we will continue to evaluate and determine if future adjustments are necessary.
Thank you, Elsa. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The next few slides will illustrate where we're at and how we got here. One of the largest components of discretionary revenue is property taxes. The following slides illustrates how the assessed value translate into discretionary funding for the county. Each year, this process starts in January, and on or before July 1st of each year, the assessor certifies the assessment roll and delivers it to the auditor controller. The largest component of most property owners' annual property tax bill is the 1%, often called 1% general tax levy or countywide rate. Proposition 13, approved by the California voters, is the basis the current property tax process. It limits the property tax rate to 1% of assessed values. It also limits the value increase to a maximum 2% per year on properties that were not involved in a change of ownership or new construction. New acquired properties are assessed at fair market value, usually the purchase price, while the value of new construction is added to the existing base value of the parcel. So, for example, in this illustration, if the property owner's home value is assessed at 100, we would be at $1. So where does that dollar go? As mentioned on the previous slide, every year, the Auditor Controller's Office receives that assessed value of local properties from the Assessor's Office no later than July 1st, and local state assessed values from the State Board of Equalization. The Auditor Controller's Office then calculates by parcel the 1% general tax amount and amount necessary to make payments to service debt or voter-approved bonds. In 1979, Assembly Bill 8 was adopted to provide procedures for the Auditor Controller to allocate property taxes. The basic premise of AB 8 is to allocate each taxing jurisdiction the amount it received in the prior year, plus a share of the change that has occurred in the current year within its boundaries, whether it's positive or negative. Examples of events that would result in changes to assess valuation for a specific tax rate area include annexations or detachments, formation or dissolution of districts, city and corporations, negotiated agreements, legislative changes. In addition, during the year, the assessor and the Assessment Appeals Board makes changes in assessed values that change the original levy, which could result in refunds to taxpayers. Due to various factors, those appeals and refunds fluctuate from year to year. Property tax is a major source of revenue for the local governments in California. The portion of the 1% is primarily, as displayed on this slide, allocated to schools. That makes up about 60%. The fire department receives 10.5% of the 1%, and the county receives 17.5% of the 1%. The county relies on this property tax as the main source of discretionary revenue to pay for county-wide services. Although property tax is the main source of discretionary revenue, it is not the only revenue received for county-wide services. This slide shows the total resources available to fund county services for fiscal year 24-25. The budget is funded from several sources. Here you can see 69% is new revenue, operating transfer in, and fund balances, and reserves and designations. These sources include, as previously mentioned, property tax. However, the funding from restricted state, federal, and government aid is the largest at 34.1%. General fund discretionary revenue, including fund balance available and uses, totaled $733 million and represents approximately 61% of the general fund financing sources. This revenue comes from property tax in lieu of vehicle license, interest earnings, sales and use tax that must be first obligated to pay for the required maintenance of effort contributions mandated for health and welfare and other fixed obligations, which totaled $157.7 million. The remaining amount is available to fund department budgets, net county costs, or other expenditures. As mentioned previously by Ms. Martinez, this is only one document that is produced by the county. It differs from the other document also mentioned by Ms. Martinez, the ACFR. The ACFR is a backwards-looking document, and it describes where we have been. The budget is forward-looking. The budget is a plan for the fiscal year that shows how revenues will be allocated. Due to different factors, staffing needs, new awards, grant, funding increases, or decreases, departments come back to your board to adjust that plan. There have been approximately 136 adjustments to this plan for various items, which include unanticipated revenue and state and federal allocation changes. As mentioned on the previous slide, changes are made to the budget throughout the year. As detailed in the mid-year report, discretionary revenue is currently projected to exceed budget estimates by 2.35%, primarily as a result of sales and use taxes. The projected increase is due to several factors, including one-time significant energy project tax allocations and audit-determined reallocations. This additional funding obligation will be detailed later in this presentation. Sales and other taxes. The fiscal year 2024 budget for sales and taxes included $174.8 million. Sales and use taxes make up approximately 29.9% of budgeted discretionary revenue. This revenue is volatile and influenced by economic cycles, consumer behavior, and policy changes. A strategic, data-driven approach is essential, incorporating historical trends, economic factors, and policy impacts. Our projections are realistic to avoid overestimating growth, and regular monitoring is necessary to adjust for that volatility. Although the projected 24-25 forecast assumes a moderate increase in sales and use tax, it is anticipated that the rapid rate of growth in prior fiscal years will slow in the coming months, and sales and use tax collection will remain flat. November 8th, 2022, voters within the unincorporated areas of the county approved the unincorporated Kern County Public Safety Vital Services Local Control Measure, also known as Measure K. As displayed on this slide, Measure K sales tax revenue is anticipated to exceed estimates primarily due to energy project tax allocations and redeterminations. This is still very new, and variances occur because the confusion among taxpayers unsure of their location and whether Measure K applies to their sales. (1991) and 2011 realignment assist in funding various departments that provide public safety, public assistance, and health services. In 1991-92, the state approved the Health and Welfare Realignment Program that involved the shift of program responsibilities from the state to the county. This shift is funded through a corresponding shift of dedicated sales and vehicle license fee. Realignment revenue is restricted and used in funding mental health, social services, and health programs within the county. 2011 realignment revenue provides public safety, health, and welfare funding. This created a major shift or realignment of state responsibilities and revenue to local governments. The county was previously responsible for the delivery of these services before realignment but with the shift, the state would no longer participate in the share of costs. While the state no longer shares in the cost, it is dedicated a portion of sales tax, 1.0625% revenue, along with a portion of vehicle license fees for these realigned programs. As of December 31st, 2024, the county has received $104.4 million, or approximately 49% of 1991 realignment funding anticipated for the budget year. This mid-year report includes updated revenue projections based on California state budget estimates, and the projected base for 24-25 remains flat. The 24-25 budget also included $270.9 million in 2011 realignment revenue. As of December 31st, the county has received $100.4 million, or approximately 36% of the 2011 realignment funding anticipated for the year, including nearly $10.7 million in one-time 23-24 growth from law enforcement and protective services. Realignment growth funds are typically received in September or October, and departments do come back to your board for that one-time growth. The 24-25 realignment revenue is projected to be approximately $10.7 million higher than budgeted due to this one-time realignment growth and vehicle license fees. The growth will be used to offset the increase in future costs.
Can I take just a quick interjection of a question by Supervisor Parlier?
Thank you. Just for clarification, the figures that are listed, those are in the millions, correct?
They are.
They are?
It says,
They're in thousands, but they represent,
Correct, so you would
in
add the zeros.
thousands, but representing millions.
Correct, yes, so you would add the zeros.
Okay.
could you explain that one more
That's a
time,
little
please?
confusing. Thank you.
Correct, so they are in thousands, so that 281,610 would be millions.
So it represents millions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Next time we have a slide like this, could we have an asterisk or something up here?
I think
Because,
it's right on top, but you can
yeah,
hardly see it.
I can't really see it,
Yeah,
but I may know that, but people in the audience or people watching may not know that, so, thank you.
Yes, let's put the real number.
Yeah, and is there any reason the real number can't fit on the slide, or?
So we do change it at times, so it would have expanded some of those numbers, shrinking them, so it would have
Okay.
been harder for the public to see if we did put them on there. There is quite a bit of numbers, so that million would have stretched out those rows and columns, so we wanted to display it as much as possible for the public to see, knowing that they're in the back.
Okay, thanks. And like I said, just maybe a legend or something underneath it for future. Thank you.
Proposition 172, enacted by California voters in 1993, established a permanent statewide half-cent sales tax to support local public safety functions. The 0.5% sales tax imposed by Proposition 172, collected by the state and apportioned to each county based on its proportionate share of statewide taxable sales, to be used only for local public safety activities. Kern County's pro rata factor or share of Proposition 172 revenue is determined by the county's ratio of sales tax collection compared to the statewide total collections. After adoption of the budget, of the Kern County's budget, the pro rata share of Proposition 172 revenue shifted and has increased our adjusted estimate for fiscal year 24-25. Proposition 172 revenue is projected at $117.2 million, approximately $4.4 million in excess of budgeted revenues. The projections are estimated based on analysis of revenue trends and forecasts provided by our sales tax consultant. The projected year-end estimate of $4.4 million will be used in future years in the event of unforeseen revenue reductions or other extraordinary events that may require additional funding. As of December 31st, expenditures totaled $1.7 billion, representing 39.2% of budgeted appropriations. This is within the historical range when compared to the mid-year point of the prior year. Overall expenditures related to personnel costs for salaries and benefits are tracking to the budget, but are higher than prior years. Expenditures for operating expenses and capital projects make up approximately 60% of the total appropriations. Services and supplies are tracking at 37.1%. Capital expenditures cover a wide variety of project types, including road repairs, airport improvements, parks revitalization, facility improvements, and any project that is not completed in the current year will carry over to the next fiscal year. This slide illustrates similar data as the previous slide in a different format. Again, this shows that operating expense as the highest expense. The increase in expenses from the prior year is due to the higher price of goods and a variety of major maintenance and capital projects. Again, as previously discussed, on November 8th, voters within the unincorporated areas of the county approved the unincorporated Measure K sales tax. The measure is a locally controlled 1-cent sales tax measure which was approved to address top priorities identified by the community, including enhancing public safety, reducing homelessness, and bolstering economic development activities. Overall, Measure K investments in public safety topped the spending at $44.2 million, or 85% of the total budget. Approximately 95% of the allocation is for ongoing costs. As mentioned earlier, expenditures related to personnel costs for salaries and benefits are tracking to the budget. However, from this slide, you can see how staffing expenses are more than the prior 3 fiscal years. This slide provides a brief overview of the strides made by the county for recruitment efforts. Between July 1st and December 31st, the Human Resources Division has conducted 187 recruitments, received and screened 21,696 applications, and prepared 397 certifications. The county hired 728 employees during that period. Strides have been made to hire new park rangers to be deployed across the county's regional and neighborhood parks. This year's budget continued making significant investments in our community. In addition to the projects established in fiscal year 24-25, General Services is working on a total of 144 projects. The General Services Division is diligently working on the projects and anticipates completing 88 projects in fiscal year 24-25.
Park rangers do post.
Although not all projects will be completed this fiscal year, those resources will carry into the next year to continue until the projects are completed. As noted earlier in the slide, mid-year budgetary adjustments are necessary to allocate the unanticipated revenue in the amount of $13.7 million for one-time sales and use taxes, property taxes, and other discretionary funding sources. These adjustments include the establishment of mid-year major maintenance projects for veteran services payment improvements in an amount not to exceed $110,000, panorama erosion control design in an amount not to exceed $121,000, human resources flooring improvements, appropriations for salaries and benefits to increase payroll costs, and services to supply adjustments primarily for utility increases. Also, increases to contingencies for personnel matters related to hearing officers, and increases to designations for known increases for the Hart Flat Fire Station, Animal Services Facility, and funds received for the Citizens Redistricting Commission for future cost. In addition, it is necessary to recognize unanticipated revenue from restricted sources in the amount of $6.5 million, primarily from state funding, and establish mid-year major maintenance projects for Jamison Center improvements in an amount not to exceed $100,000, Human Services Flower Street improvements in an amount not to exceed $500,000, and increases to services supplies for Human Services Department for increases to assistant payments. Salary and benefit increases for payroll costs for the Sheriff's Department and employer training resources for paid work experience.
Morning, Madam Chair and members of the Board of Supervisors. The County Administrative Office will continue to track revenue, expenses, and economic indicators while working with departments, consultants, and subject matter experts to assess the impacts of state deficits, rising labor costs, inflation, and overall cost escalations. Additionally, we will monitor changes in federal policy, administrative actions, and potential funding freezes or reductions. Our legislative team will analyze the state legislation for fiscal and operation impacts. Based on these assessments, we will bring adjustments as needed before the end of the fiscal year.
Madam Chair, if I may make a statement, try to make that simplified. If we can go back to the dollar where we break our property tax, you indicated what are the impacts the state makes on county operations. I think it's very important for people to understand that while we generate property tax locally, that the dollars, all the dollars don't stay here. As you can see here, 60% of it goes to the state for schools. 10% we are obligated to keep for fire services. The county, for discretionary operations, to operate the jails, to provide public safety, to operate parks, only gets 17.5 cents on the dollar. The rest comes back from the state. They do fund, as you show on the slide on where our revenue comes from, significant amount of money comes from state and federal funding, but those comes with strings attached. We talk about realignment. I know it's a concept that we probably have forgotten what it meant to the county, but as a reminder, the state take some property tax from the county, then makes decisions to pass responsibilities back to the county. AB 109 was a complete shift in responsibility to the county that we didn't have before for criminal justice-involved individuals that used to go to the state for their sentences. Now they're staying here. We have changes. The state also made another change through realignment and the juvenile justice reform where juveniles that used to go to state facilities, now they stayed with us. And so those realignment funds are restricted for specific purposes. So not only the state takes a portion of our property tax, it returns some of the funds, but it returns them with restrictions and to be used for very specific purposes. The challenge we have with that the assessed value, our assessed value we show at $100 bill. Well, that's shrinking because changes at the state level that they impose on the county when it comes to oil extraction, when it comes to solar exclusion, like we cannot collect property taxes on those. So that $100 bill becomes a $50 bill that then we take 1%, now the dollar is 50 cents, that we now take only 8 cents on the dollar. So those are the challenges that we have to incorporate on the budget. I know there's a lot of technical explanations, but as part of the ERAF shift, when they did that transfer of money, property tax to the schools, we did get a backfill of Prop 172, but it's sales tax driven. So changes in the sales and consumption across the state impact those resources. So while we get them back with restriction. Now, Prop 172, where property tax, your board has discretion to allocate. Now, Prop 172, we're restricted to allocate it only to public safety. So those are the challenges, the balancing that we have to do when we're preparing the budget, where we're looking at the changes that are happening across the country and the state. As we mentioned, we do have 13 million additional discretionary revenue. We are presenting to you adjustments that indicate that our utility cost is going up, our salary costs are going up with some departments. As if you look at the detailed report that we presented, we have some departments that are having additional costs. Providing Meals on Wheels for our seniors is getting very expensive, and we're going to have to support that department with discretionary dollars if we want to continue doing that service. If you may go to the adjustments, please. The majority of the additional sales tax that we're collecting is Measure K, and the community allows to include that tax with very specific mandate. They wanted public safety, they wanted fire. So our first 2 years, our priorities have been those that were designated by the community. So 9.4 million of the 13 million are being designated for the Hart Flat Fire Station and the Animal Control Facility. Additionally, we got some funding from the Citizen Redistricting Commission that will be needed in 2030. We're setting that money aside so those resources are available when we need them. We also have major infrastructure going across the county. I think we need to acknowledge that the county has made significant investments. We used $30 million of our American Rescue Act plan funding to allocate to our public works departments to make road improvements across the county. But we also have needs across departments. We have some departments, our utility cost is going up. We're gonna have to pay it. So we're allocating a portion of the $13.7 million to the needs that we know as of today. There's gonna be changes before June, and we'll come back to your board with those changes. So as the staff indicated, our budget right now is tracking as amended, but without consideration of any impacts at the federal level. We hear news every day what's happening at the federal level.
Every hour.
Every hour. You heard about the Medicaid changes. Those could have significant impacts on our community. We have a significant number of community members that rely on Medicaid for their health care. Even if there's reductions on the amount of what they call it, the FMAP, which is the federal funding that comes to fund the Medicaid, our departments are going to be impacted. We're going to have impacts at behavioral health. We're going to have impacts at public health. Public health serves one of our most vulnerable population, children with disabilities. So there's major impacts that we have to prepare for. So we have to be fiscally prudent when we allocate resources. So the budgetary actions that we're proposing to your board will cover the obligations through the end of the fiscal year. We're also recommending that your board delete unfunded vacant positions, as are summarized in the report, and that you authorize our Human Resources Division to do those amendments and an auditor controller to make the adjustments that we're proposing for your board. This concludes our prepared remarks, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I don't see anybody plugged in, or Chris, are you trying to? Okay, Supervisor Peters and then Flores. Peters first. Oh, I'm so sorry. Supervisor Parley, I saw you trying to punch in, but Peters beat you, you know.
That's okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Peters. Supervisor Parlier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Elsa, I just have a quick question for you. So I had a meeting with our oil industry yesterday, and of course I represent the largest area of our oil industry in West Kern. And when you talk about Measure K funds, those are new monies that are coming in, but they're really kind of offset monies, because as the oil industry is being restricted, and that has historically been the cornerstone for a large portion of our county budget, as those are going down and our availability for permitting and like I said, other restrictions, those Measure K monies are really offsetting the depression of that industry. Would that be correct?
Partially, we made the commitment to our community that we will enhance services. So we are enhancing services, but we're also using a portion to cover some of those lost revenues. We have been, at least in the last 2 years, we have seen a growth in our, what we call our Roll 1, our residential and commercial, that is offsetting our oil and gas. But if that balance changes where the residential growth, as Mr. Albel indicated, you know, if houses are not selling and they're reassessing, we're going to see that shift that we might have to use Measure K to offset the resources. The goal is not to do that. The goal is to provide additional services to our community. That's why part of Measure K, we are dedicating a portion of Measure K for economic development. We as a county have to invest in economic development. If our legacy industries are at risk because, you know, decisions at the state level when it comes to oil and gas, when it comes to ag, I mean, we're seeing impacts coming from the state regarding water. And so we'll see changes in our property values related to those. So we need to invest in economic development. We need to bring industries to our county to provide, you know, not just property tax, but good paying jobs to our community.
Thank you, Elsa.
I might add, the average salary for an oil field worker is $80,000. And that we're being asked essentially to replace that with an industry that does great short-term construction jobs that are far away and take transportation and registration on your vehicle. I could go on and on and on, in an industry that we get no sales tax property for, because the solar industry was very sophisticated, went up and lobbied for themselves and their industry, and because they're nice green energy, they've gotten more breaks than any industry I've seen in a long time. And who pays for it? Kern County, because we're 60% of the state's renewables. It's like dump all your renewable obligation onto Kern County and give them absolutely no money for raises and shut down all their oil and permitting too, because we don't like oil and gas. We don't really have any alternatives, or we can't really explain in really reasonable terms why that is. But let's just go ahead and shut Kern County down in the process. Okay, that's actually what's happening, you guys. That is actually what's happening. That is not an excuse for any decisions here or the policy priorities of this board, but that's what the state of California is doing to us. And I think it's critical that we understand it, because many of you are very influential at the state. You as a body, nobody is more influential than you. This is what's happening to Kern County, and it's affecting you more than anybody. That's the truth. Elsa, any more comments? Okay. Supervisor Flores?
Jeez, Supervisor Perez, my blood pressure is boiling. Thank you.
I'm so
I don't want to
furious.
digress, yeah. Yeah, I have no faith, yeah, no, I have no
That's a
faith
problem,
in,
huh,
no
David?
faith in just transition to replace our dynamic oil sector. It's a total sham. And the state can't clear a homeless encampment off 178, and they're going to fundamentally replace the greatest economic driver of our county. It's a total falsehood, that narrative. But I'm going to go back to budget. And I thank you for the mid-year budget review. It's very helpful on where we've been, where we're at, where we're going. I wanted to well, I know we're going to do this more in detail at future budget hearings, but I saw something about the redistricting commission. What amount is going for that from Measure K? I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
Supervisor Flores to the chair. It is not Measure K or county funds. The legislation was passed about redistricting, having the county having a redistricted commission. Our legislative team fought hard and said, great, but you have to pay for the cost. So we receive funding from the state that will be used in 2030 when we have to do the next redistricting evaluation. And so we got a $1 million check. One day, $1 million check show up. And so I am just setting those funds aside to be used in 2030.
Thank you. So it's not Measure K.
It's not.
Thank you. And then also lastly, thank you for the panorama erosion control. It's very important to the bluffs. I appreciate that.
Guys, we're going to hear from you in a minute, okay? Please don't.
And
Okay,
then,
we are seriously trying to have a conversation here. Please don't do that.
I didn't hear, but thank you.
We're going to hear from the public
Sure.
in a moment.
And then
We want to
lastly,
hear from you.
My final lastly is I really appreciate the new hires in public safety, and sheriff, in detentions. That really makes a difference. So it's about services, not high salaries. We need more services for the taxpayer, and that's when we win. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm by law required to say, please don't be disruptive in the board chambers. That's number one. That's the law. Supervisor Peters, you're up.
Thank you. I had a question about the Lake Isabella Courthouse. So the community up there's been trying to get that courthouse reopened for a long time, and we've been told by the Judicial Council that they're considering at some point putting somebody up there occasionally to handle some. I don't know how all that stuff works, but this is something that the community has really needed, really wanted for a long time. We've been fighting with the Judicial Council to keep even Ridgecrest Courthouse open because they're trying to consolidate all of East Kern into one courthouse, which is a huge disservice to the community out there. And I saw that there's a line item in here for us to acquire that courthouse, and that raises some concerns for me because I don't want to do anything that's going to adversely impact the chances of that being reopened. And I also would like to understand a little bit more about why we're having to buy that back from California when they took the courthouses over from us.
Supervisor Peters, through the chair, you outline a very complex process. As you indicated, the county does not decide where courthouses are. That is up to the judges, the Judicial Council. And I think that courthouse has been closed now for several years, I would have to say, and the community has to drive all the way from Lake Isabella to I don't know if they go to Ridgecrest or come back to Bakersfield. Interestingly enough, we own the facility. We're not buying it, we own it. But through state legislation, again, when the transition of the courts went from municipal court transfer from the counties to the state decided that the county was spending monies and we were gonna enter into this agreement, and it's called joint occupancy agreements, where they acquire, through legislation,
ownership on a building that we owned. And so the courts have approached the county now over a year ago. We've been going back and forth. I agree with you. Our initial stand was, have a court, but they haven't. So now they came back and gave us a last opportunity to acquire our own property, pay them for their right, occupancy right. And if we don't, then they're gonna go do something else, probably not a courthouse. So we thought it was on the best benefit of the county and the community that we retain that facility. So in case in the future they decide to come back and make it a courthouse, in the meantime, we can use it for our own departments, public safety, that they need space in that area.
Yeah, I would like to understand more about this. That's a hard one for me to swallow, that they come in and take our property and then we get the opportunity to buy it back from them. So I don't know. I think I need to understand that a little bit more, how that works.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Supervisor Couch.
I want you to say that again. Legislatively, they got ownership in a building that we owned, and now we have to buy that ownership from them?
That is correct.
Sounds about right.
That's that takes the cake.
Okay, Supervisor, we're done here. We're going to open it up to the public now. So please come down to the podium, state your name. This is on today's budget. We are going to get to public presentations after that, which is broader. But regarding the budget, please come down and give your input, expertise, and insight. And please come on down. We want to hear from you. Please state your name for the record. Thank you for your patience, guys. I appreciate it. And welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Tania, Tania, Salinas, Salinas. Moving public comment, that's a first and a huge disservice to constituents. I do have to add that. But board members and fellow co-workers, my name is Tania Salinas. I am a proud SIU 521 member and president of the Kern Mano County Central Labor Council. Today, I'm here to discuss an important milestone in our ongoing fight for workers' rights, the Central Labor Council's decision to grant SEIU 521 local strike sanction. This decision is not just a mere formality. It symbolizes solidarity and strength among labor unions and the workers we serve. SEIU 521 has been a champion for the rights and dignity of workers, advocating for fair wages, better working conditions, and robust benefits. The strike sanction signifies broader support from the Central Labor Council, empowering union members to take action when necessary. It acknowledges the struggles many workers face in their daily lives and the need for collective response. In times of economic uncertainty, it is crucial for workers to stand united. The Council's backing sends a clear message to employers. We will not back down in the face of unjust practices or inadequate compensation. It reinforces our commitment to negotiation and fair treatment, ensuring that working families can thrive instead of just survive. Ultimately, this strike sanction is about more than just a single union. It represents a movement to uplift every worker's voice and rights, educating our communities about the combined failure of the county to deliver over $532 million in promised services over the last 3 years. That is unacceptable and is a detriment to the community it serves. To our working families, as we move forward, let us remember the power of solidarity, our shared purpose, and the belief that together we can achieve the equitable treatment all workers deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome. I'm going to ask Kathy to run the 2-minute marker given the late hour. I'm eager to hear from you, so good to see you.
Wow.
Good morning.
Of course, we've waited since 9 o'clock till now, and now you're going to limit this presentation. Janine Adams.
Hold on. No, it's okay. Excuse me. Wait, hold on, Janine. I have to tell the crowd. That's number 2. We're going to close. We're going to shut down in a few minutes. If that's what you want, that's what you can have. That is your right. I just want to let you know that's where we're moving. So please.
Janine Adams. I live in Tehachapi. This mid-year budget status report reveals $100 million in unspent funds. That is on top of $175 million that has already been set aside from revenues for reserves. Over the last 3 years, this pattern has led to over $530 million in underinvestment. That's over $500 million in broken promises, failing to deliver safer roads, addiction treatment, and mental health services due to hiring and retention failures. Let's be clear, the budget is not a limit on spending. It's a financial plan. It's a promise. It's a commitment to the Kern County taxpayers about how their dollars are being used. Yet this board continues to sit on funds instead of investing in critical public services. The board claims that restricted funds are unavailable for salaries. In reality, these funds could be used to recruit and retain essential workers if this board chose to prioritize it. And while coming in quote-unquote under budget might sound responsible, in this case, it means failing to invest in services the county itself has deemed necessary. This is not fiscal responsibility. It's breaking trust with public taxpayers. Kern County deserves better. This board must act now to invest in a workforce and services our community needs. We cannot afford more broken promises. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanine. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Mercy Pena, M-E-R-C-Y, last name Pena, P-E-N-A. I'm the Greenfield Union School District Trustee of Area C. The reason I'm here is to request an itemized statement from the Kern County Elections Office and the
Excuse me, ma'am, I am so sorry to do this to you. We're actually on the budget issue right now.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I know you've had such a personal nightmare, and I feel for you profoundly. I'm sorry you're going to have to wait, so please forgive me. If you would have a seat, your issue is very important, I promise you. We're trying to work through it and make sense of it ourselves, but if you wouldn't mind, we have these folks here from SEIU, and they've been waiting a long time. Thank you so much. Please come down, state your name for the record, and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Cynthia Eaton. I am a child support specialist, a senior child support specialist with the Department of Child Support. I am an SEIU 521 member and a constituent of District 2. Board, as you are aware, Kern County employees are prepared to strike on March 5th. So much has crossed my mind as to why I'm willing to support this strike. My support is for friends and coworkers who have worked hard to promote just to find themselves making the same wages they promoted from. My support is for the taxpayers whose money was taken for causes and the money was not used for those purposes. And what mostly weighs on my heart is the social workers. They are spread so thin, families become a number. The proper time and attention needed for these families is not given. What if the time and attention was given in the classic and sincere case? Would the outcome have been different? My heart is for the families who have lost loved ones due to the poor road conditions. My fight isn't because I don't like my job. My fight is about our community, adequate staff to impact adequate service, fair wages for the members of this community. I ask the board for a fair contract, and I ask the board to fix Kern now.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Hall. I'm wondering if any of these budgetary people could speak to the amount of money that the county is not gathering on property taxes for farmland. How much money is being left on the table from untaxed farmland? We're giving them a 90% tax break on their land that the state has not backfilled us on since 2009. I'd like to know how much that revenue is that we're not collecting.
Sir, are you referring to the Williamson Act?
Yes, I am.
Okay, got it. So the way it works in here, you have a great question. It's exceptional. I'm very curious about it. But you essentially direct those questions to us, and then we'll guide staff to figure out how to answer that. I don't know that we have a Williamson Act answer right now. That's very complex, the way those taxes are structured on that property, based on the type of product that was there and how long it's been farmed.
I understand that.
Very complicated, so I may not
And
have
you
an answer right
have,
now.
you have the director of the planning department right here in the chambers that could speak to the hundreds of millions of dollars that are being left on the table because of this special interest group. The same special interest group, one of many that is stopping us from doing oil and gas permitting, which we were doing for a short time. It was not the state that stopped us. The state didn't sue us. It was these local groups. It was these special interest groups, the environmentalists and the farmers that are stopping us from permitting oil and gas, not the state, to correct the record.
It's both.
The state didn't sue us.
The state will not let our EIR out of hostage. So yes, they are actually.
It's the courts.
Okay, I understand that.
Because we
The
were
courts are
sued
guided
not
by the
by the state.
legislation from the state of California. So it's complex, sir, but you ask a great question, and I want to get that answer back to you, and I will get it to you. It's a great question. It's part of the conversation. I don't have that answer in front of me now, but we
So
will
I'd
get it
like-
to you, Mr. Hall.
So I would like to know if any of the supervisors will be standing up to these special interest groups and try to collect some tax revenues to help pay for the services that all of the community uses instead of giving them these tax breaks.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. It's a great question.
Well, thank you.
Supervisor Flores?
I don't think the county of Kern, we don't have discretion on state Williamson Act law. So if that's the state law and a farmer wants to go on that contract, Lorelei can comment later as you do research, but I want to echo, it is the state. The CalJam is not issuing permits. It is the state. They're aggressive. I met with oil people yesterday, 2 independent producers. It is the state. We can have a difference of opinion, but they are relentless. The state mandates, just look at the mandates. Forget their local EIR permitting. Just look at the mandates. To phase out the engine, to phase out cars, to phase out local production. The trajectory that the state is on is a de facto ban. It is the state.
Mr. Hall, you have a great question. We're going to get back with you on that answer. I think it's an excellent question. So I'll get back to you, and thank you for your creativity. Okay, regarding the budget, good morning,
It
Jess.
is, and I was going to reiterate exactly what you said about the problems we're having with money coming in. We have a lot that needs to go out, but a good portion of it is due to our supermajority liberals in Sacramento, and your vote counts. So the other
Jess,
thing
we
is,
try not to do politics in here
Oh,
just because
sorry.
it's messy and emotional. Let's stick to the facts. It's more powerful.
okay.
Okay.
So the other thing I was going to say is, as I've been a union member for a lot of years, they do collective bargaining, but we did it with contracts with companies. I don't believe collective bargaining belongs when you're tapping the taxpayer, because the taxpayer doesn't have a voice in what's being spent. They should be able to vote on those if it's a collective bargaining. But if I went to a contractor and said, hey, you're going to work for this, and all of those people out there are going to pay for it, they don't have anything to say about it, it wouldn't be fair. And that's what collective bargaining does in our government. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Other statements regarding the budget? We'll get to public presentations in a moment. Please come on down. Any other comments? If folks want to talk about the budget, please line up so we can keep moving. It helps, and your time is valuable too. Good morning.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Victor Portillo. I'm a Program Support Supervisor for Employees Training Resource. I have invested approximately over 27 years in my career, and I'm a proud county worker. Our goal is to assist the public in securing training and employment services so they can become, I'm talking about job seekers, contributing members of our county. I am a constituent of District 1, and that is Supervisor Jeff Flores. I'm here to comment on some issues affecting our department. We are facing staff shortages in our workplace. Case managers and job developers are at times asked to cover reception and resource room responsibilities and other activities in assisting the public. This is largely due to not backfilling permanent and extra help positions. Therefore, it takes longer to get folks into the workforce. In addition, employee morale is low because of low wages and having extra work put on them, meaning that they can give their all to all clients the attention they deserve. So borrowing from Peter to pay Paul is not a good measure, it's not a good strategy, it's not effective to both employees and the public. And respectfully, this morning, I asked two requests. Number one, that we would like to ask Supervisor Jeff Flores to meet with me and my coworkers to discuss these issues and work to find better solutions. And also to discuss a better way to use the $500 million that are being underspent. And second, I would like to ask, respectfully, we're asking the Board of Supervisors to go back to the bargaining table and to bargain in good faith. And I asked this morning, what is bargaining in good faith? Well, exercising good faith is following the golden rule. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. And also, it is written, the labor is worthy of his wages. That's including you, that's including us, that's including everybody that works for an employer. And I appeal to the board this morning to, in good faith, to give respect to the workforce, give dignity, give fair wage increases and proper accommodations to our great county workers so they can fulfill their responsibilities to the great citizens of our county. And I just want to thank you for the time that's been afforded to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Portillo.
Hello, my name is Chance. I'm a private business owner here in town. I pay lots of taxes. I just wanted to say thank you, Board, for being fiscally conservative and making sure that we keep our savings account intact. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down, please. Thank you, Chance.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Robert Hurd. I'm a resident here in Kern County. I've gotten to know a lot of social workers here. They're responsible for protecting the integrity of our people in our county, just like police officers, just like fire department, just like the Board of Supervisors. Integrity is a big thing, and they've maintained their integrity over many years without a raise. In fact, I think they went about 10 years without a raise. And yet, they still maintain the integrity of what they do. They protect our community just like police officers. I'm a former Army officer. I protected this country, and I did it with integrity. I have so much respect for every social worker in this room, the jobs that they do, the stresses that they take home. I suffer from PTSD. I can only imagine what they suffer from dealing with it day after day after day. We've shown what happens when that integrity of them being able to do their job is compromised. We saw it in California City. We saw it in Tehachapi. Give them what they need to move forward so they can take care of their families. Currently, the average social worker who's hired makes $24 an hour. McDonald's pays $20 an hour. These are degreed people who have gone to school to take lesser amount of money to protect this community. All they're asking for is a little bit of respect. Thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Daisy Graven. I'm a substance use disorder specialist with Kern County's Department of Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. I live in Supervisor Flores' district. I'm a taxpayer, a voter, and a proud SEIU 521 member. Kern County is in a mental health crisis, and we're failing people who need us most. Suicide deaths here are 30% higher than the state average. That's unacceptable. As frontline workers, we know that when people reach out for help, timing is everything. But because we're short-staffed, we miss a lot of those critical moments. people fall through the cracks, and lives are lost. In 2023, this board reported they failed to deliver $164 million in mental health fund programs they promised to use, funds that could have saved lives but are going unused. That's not just bad policy, it's neglect. The people of Kern County deserve accountability. BHRS workers are standing up for those who can't speak for themselves. Supervisor Flores, I'm asking you directly, meet with me and my coworkers, your constituents. We don't want to strike, we want to serve our community. But if this board continues to shortchange taxpayers and ignore this crisis, we will. Invest in mental health, invest in Kern County before it's too late. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Can I get your
excuse
name?
me.
Ma'am, we didn't get your name. Please
I
come
didn't-
over.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
You were a great speaker, too.
Daisy Graven, DAISY, GRAVEN.
Thank you.
G-R-E-V-E-N. Thank you. Come on down, please.
Good morning. My name is Tina Croxton. We're still here, filibuster notwithstanding. I've been a behavioral health nurse for over 20 years. I live in Supervisor Parlier's district. I'm a taxpayer, a voter, and a proud SEIU 521 member. I'm here because Kern County is failing its most vulnerable citizens, our mental health patients, and those struggling with substance use. We are dangerously short-staffed, losing experienced professionals to better paying jobs, and the opioid crisis is spiraling out of control. According to KGET Channel 17, opioid deaths in Kern County are 83% higher than the state average. Families are being torn apart, yet this board failed to deliver $164 million promised in reserve mental health dollars to mental health services according to your last report, and this year looks better. Where did that money go? Why are we still short-staffed when their lives are at stake? We need real leadership. We need investment in mental health care, not just talk. For this lack of leadership and the unlawful actions taken against my coworkers' collective bargaining, my coworkers and I are striking on March 5th. And if nothing changes, we won't stop there. Supervisor Parlier, I'm asking you directly to meet with me and my coworkers, who are your constituents. Fix Kern, address this crisis, keep Kern County safe.
Hello, my name is Thomas Brown, and I'm a voter in Jeff Flores' district. I've been a social service worker for the In-Home Supportive Services program at Aging and Adult Services for about 3.5 years. Our program provides assistance to those who have needs that might place them at risk for being placed in skilled nursing facilities. Our program assists with things like cooking and cleaning, but also personal care like bathing, dressing, and restroom use. Our department's biggest issue is attracting and retaining social workers due to our wages not being competitive. Due to the shortage of quality staff, applicants are waiting close to, if not more than 90 days to be seen and have their applications processed, meaning that these people are potentially going without care for 3 months. In addition to the applicants, our current recipients are not having their yearly reassessments completed in a timely fashion, some having gone without a reassessment for over 2 years. This means that as their conditions progress and their needs become greater, they are not receiving the care that they not only need, but deserve. This is not sustainable and is a disservice to your constituents, the citizens of Kern County. We need more staff, and you, the Board of Supervisors, can fix the problem. For the past 3 years, you have failed to deliver over $532 million of public services, including funds that could have been used to keep seniors and those with disabilities healthy and cared for.
Thank you. Come on down, please. Good morning.
Good morning. So my name is Hashim Boss. I'm a group counselor. I've been with the county for a little over a year. I live in Supervisor Flores' district, I'm a taxpayer, a voter, and a proud SEIU member. I work at Jameson's Children's Center, the only emergency shelter for abused and exploited children in Kern County. We provide, excuse my voice, we provide food, education, and health care to kids in crisis. Yet this board is ignoring our staffing shortage, putting these children at even greater risk. We are a 24-hour shelter, but we don't have enough staff to properly care for the children we serve. We lose dedicated workers to better paying agencies, leaving us shorthanded, overworked, and unable to provide the stability these kids need. How can we protect vulnerable children when our facility is overlooked, underpaid, and underprioritized? Some of the workers I've seen come and go, and if we don't fix this crisis, more children will fall through the cracks. The people of Kern County deserve accountability. Supervisor Flores, I'm asking you directly to meet with me and my coworkers, your constituents. We don't want to strike. We want to serve our community. But if the board keeps shortchanging taxpayers and failing our kids, we will. Invest in the children who rely on us. Fix Kern County now.
Madam Chairman? The speaker brought up Jameson Center. I want to ask our CAO because I think this is important for people to understand. My understanding is the state of California wants us to close the Jameson Center. Is that correct? I'm not sure if our
Supervisor
the head of
Couch,
behavioral health is here this morning.
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, our director for Human Services is here, but I think you're referring to across the state, the way the state is funding, they prefer that children go to emergency foster care rather than a shelter. We're unique in Kern County, actually, that we still have a shelter, and a lot of the cost is discretionary. Your board has made that decision to maintain that shelter.
Well, maybe I didn't say it very articulately. They do not want us to take children to the Jameson Center. They would prefer them to be taken elsewhere.
I think Mr. Murillo will be better answering that
All right,
question.
thank you. But I think that's important for people to understand. Thank you.
Okay. Can we keep going? What's your name, ma'am? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lydia Gonzalez. I am an employee of the Department of Human Services as a Human Services Technician. I stand here today with my fellow employees and my local union, SEIU 521. My job entails me to assist our local community when they are in need of cash, food, and insurance to sustain their families. They come and sit down with me applying for these benefits and are in despair, hopeless, hurt, damaged, and suffering. There are many tears shed by the community at my window at the Bakersfield office. It tears my heart daily not to provide them with more. What they don't know is that management policies limit our service to them. And on Wednesday, March 5th, we are left with no option to show the community, our clients, that we walk in unity to better their services. They will see us stand up to the Board of Supervisors in order to make our community a better place to live. It is your responsibility as the Board of Supervisors to ensure that we as employees have what we need, livable wages and realistic workload expectations. With livable wages and realistic workload expectations, we can dedicate more time to our clients that they deserve. I have personally invited you to visit our office to see what we handle on a daily basis. You have told us California is not providing the budget resources, but we elect you to do your job and to fight California on our behalf. We desire to continue to help our community in their time of need. These issues can no longer be ignored. We are losing experienced and caring employees because the County of Kern has undesirable living wages. Today I stand with my fellow coworkers urging the Board of Supervisors to fix Kern County staffing crisis by making us a better offer and negotiating in good faith.
Come on down, please. Lydia, thank you for your passion and your presentation. You know, the way in which this has happened is very clever. You know, it's death by 1,000 cuts that Kern County has been targeted and punished. And the way it works is they won't let us work. They just won't let us work. They have the final say. They won't give us a permit. We are not drilling. There are no new permits happening. They will only issue permits to shut down wells. No job creation and no tax revenue for the county. You know, it's a way to torture us. and to, try to shut us down, frankly. I mean, that's my honest opinion. And I don't know how we're supposed to survive here, Lydia, when the state thinks of us that way. That's the relationship with us. And it is destructive and it's toxic, and you see what the outcome is. We have 5,000 members, where a 1% raise is $1 million to the general fund. And it's worth it, yes, unless we don't have it. When I started at the board 12 years ago, the discretionary revenue that this body had the ability to have some control over was about 1/3 from the oil and gas revenue. Now it's 10% and reducing, because we simply don't have the money coming in, because the state will not give us the permits. They don't like oil. They want everything to be electrified. And in the future, I believe that's going to be the case, maybe 100 years out from now. But the pace at which they want us to move and the directives they make on us are not job producers. It's governance by prohibition and shame. It is not productive. It is not helpful. It isn't letting Kern County do what it has done for 100 years. 100 years, 70% of the state's oil and gas. 60% of the state's renewables. Somehow we're targeted and our finances are dwindling because of it. I'm just trying to be honest with you. That doesn't solve any of your problems, but this is something that's real and we have to address, and it is a part of what we're doing today, like it or not. Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate you, and I'd love to meet with you and take a tour. And we have to figure this out, because you guys are actually powerful in Sacramento. Kern County is not. Sir, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Clayton Campbell. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a voter, and I am also a resident of Jeff Flores' supervisorial district. I may be the only person in this room, or one of very few people, who does not collect a check from the county of Kern. I do pay taxes, however. We have a bit of a mixed adversarial situation here. There's a combination of democracy in action, where you have people voicing their opinion to the government, and we also have a collective bargaining situation. And because of this political show of force from a labor union, this might potentially create a skewed perception amongst members of the board as to the public will on the question of public employee compensation in this county. This is exactly why great American statesmen like Ronald Reagan and Franklin Delano Roosevelt were opposed to the creation of public employee unions, because of that obvious conflict. I'm here to speak for the side that sometimes gets overlooked in these negotiations. The little old lady, the single mom, the business owner, the oil field worker who's on unemployment. I'm talking about the taxpayers who pay the bill. People like me who pay in and don't collect a check from the government. Who represents these people in this negotiation? You do, the 5 of you. The people of this county have elected you to represent their interests and not the interests of any special interest group, including a union of county employees. You are the stewards of the people's money. It's not the county's money, it's the people's money. Under the stewardship of county government, we've dug a $2.5 billion hole. And based on the presentation we saw earlier, it looks like perhaps there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The union appears to wish to extinguish that light and live with the same kind of excessive government spending that got us into this mess in the first place. So I'm asking you to stand up for the taxpayer, for the average person who pays into the system, who is burdened by inflation, increase in sales taxes, increase in property taxes as property has increased in value in this county. Stand up for those people. Those are your constituents. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Please come on down. Say your name, ma'am.
My name is Melissa Jones.
Excuse me, guys. Guys, please don't scoff at public speakers. You don't want people to do that to you. That's just messy and ugly, and Kern County is better than that. You're better than that. Ma'am, your name, please?
Hi, Melissa Jones. I'm a substance abuse disorder specialist. I work here on L Street, and I'm going to read. Maria Hernandez is a coworker of mine, but she had to leave, and I'm going to read what she wanted to say. So Maria says, I'm a voter in Supervisor Flores' district, a substance use disorder specialist at Kern County, and a proud SEIU 521 member. I've worked in substance use treatment for half my life. I've seen how neglecting drug and mental health services destroys lives. The fentanyl epidemic is devastating our community, affecting people of all ages. 80% of the calls we receive involve fentanyl use and may and many don't know how to access Narcan, the medication that reverses overdoses. Last year alone, 297 lives were lost to fentanyl overdoses, surpassing the 252 deaths from the previous year. Our programs serve people as young as 12, but we don't have enough staff or resources to help them. Some programs are already at capacity because of staffing shortages, leaving youth struggling with addiction without the help they need. Meanwhile, this board has failed to deliver $532 million in promised public services over the past 3 years, according to your own records. Supervisor Flores, I went to your office on September 5th. You need to listen to us. You need to walk a mile in our shoes and tell me we have enough resources. Excuse me. This board took an oath to serve the community, but is failing us. If you want to step up, we will hold you accountable. If you won't step up, we will hold you accountable. I demand that Supervisor Flores meet with me and my coworkers, your constituents. We need competitive wages to retain experienced staff and hire new employees to win a war that many are struggling to defend. I urge my community to stand together and fix Kern County now. We don't want to strike, but we will if you keep shortchanging taxpayers and short staffing essential services. And also, I just wanted to, with respect to David Couch, earlier you said that, that you couldn't do the social worker's job. And many can't, you're right, many can't do our jobs. It takes a lot of compassion, a lot of patience, a lot of empathy, and we still can't get to everybody. And so I just want to say that I love my job, and I would just like to afford to do it. Thank you.
Come on down. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh, you are very welcome.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to spell out my name because it's really complicated. The first name is Odilia, O-D-I-L-I-A. The last name is 3 words, A-R-A-U-J-O. Second word, D-E. Third word, C-A-M-A-C-H-O.
Now that's a name.
Yeah. Carpal tunnel.
Bad.
Good morning, members of the board, SEIU 521 members, and fellow citizens of Kern. My name is Odilia Araujo de Camacho. I'm a 26-year employee with the county working for Employers Training Resource, and I am a taxpayer. I am currently a re-entry case manager for the AB 109 program, working with those who are on probation or EMP, assisting them in finding stable employment so that we can have some more taxpayers. When I began working in the AB 109 program in 2020, the clients referred to us were in their late 20s to mid 40s with low-level records, mostly DUIs and drug offenses. Then 2 years ago, that changed. And now those that are being referred to us have more dangerous and serious criminal histories. The most alarming change is how young they are. We now have 18, 19, and 20-year-olds being referred who have the most serious offenses on their record, including sexual offenses against those who are even younger than they are. 5 years ago, these folks were 13, 14, and 15-year-old children. 10 years ago, they were as young as 3. How many of them were in situations that were harmful to them, that influenced them to go the wrong way? How many of them were referred to services when they were children, but were shuffled from social worker to social worker, therapist to therapist, or simply fell through the cracks? And what is happening to their victims? Are they getting services? With the staffing that we have, probably not. The county's failure to provide services it promised to the taxpayers has a human cost. I see the human cost every single day, and it's awful. Some days I go home, I'm driving home and I'm crying because I don't know what else to do. I'm trying as hard as I can. Please, try your hardest, because how many people have to suffer? How many more? Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very effective remarks. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Adrienne spelled Adrianne. Last name is Sautter. So I'm a social worker with the Department of Human Services and a proud SEIU 521 member. I want to share a statement from my coworker, Brendan Maldonado, a Child Protective Services supervisor, and it reads as follows. In CPS, we work tirelessly to protect vulnerable children, to help reunite families, and provide critical resources, but short staffing and overwhelming caseloads are making it harder to do this job effectively. According to data from the California Department of Social Services, a child in Kern County is nearly 3 times more likely to die after abuse is reported compared to the state average. That's unacceptable. Statistics are easy to read, but I have been broken many times over our children who are victims of abuse and neglect. Children who have said they are alone, abandoned, and there is no reason for living. I have mourned children who have perished due to abuse and neglect, including those in foster care who were re-victimized. Children who have died due to lack of adequate mental health services. Children who are being trafficked and who are being lost to the fentanyl crisis. If you walked a day in our shoes, you'd know when social workers are overwhelmed and under-supported, kids suffer. Families suffer, and Kern County suffers. We have lost good social workers who care about our children due to the unmanageable caseloads and lack of resources offered to us. We want to be able to do social work and help our community. We want to promote change, and it hurts when our leadership does not value our work in the community, and most importantly, that our children are suffering. Kern County children and families deserve better. We need leadership that prioritizes child safety and family well-being and ensures taxpayer dollars are being spent where they're needed the most. I urge this board to fix the staffing crisis by making a fair offer and negotiating in good faith. It's time to do what's right for our community. If we don't stand up to injustice and advocate for our children in our community, then who will? Proclamations don't protect kids. Investments in our community do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, my name is Adelivia Sana. Would you like me to, first name Arely, last name Villazana. Hello everyone, my name is Adeli and I'm a social worker for CPS. I am not here to say why we need a raise, although I am for it. I am here to ask, why can't we come together and serve our community better? Again, why can't we come together and serve our community better? At the end of the day, we're all on the same team, working towards the best outcome for Kern County. As dedicated public servants, we share a common goal to strengthen our community, support those in need, and ensure that the vital services are delivered effectively. By coming together, we can build a stronger, more resilient Kern County. Let's come together to make an impact, a lasting impact, for the people we serve. Let's set aside differences and unite in our shared mission to provide essential services, uplift those in need, and create a stronger, healthier community. Because together, we can do more for the people of Kern County. We want to serve our community better, but to do that, we need to be compensated fairly. It's not just about the money, it's about ensuring that we can focus our work without added stress of finance insecurities. Again, it's ensuring we can focus on our work without the added stress of financial insecurities. Appropriate compensation allows us to be more present with our clients, provide higher quality service, and avoid burnouts. When social workers are supported, our entire community benefits. Let's invest in those who dedicated their lives helping others so we can continue making a meaningful impact in Kern County. Again, true progress happens when we work together. Again, true progress happens when we work together. By collaborating, sharing ideas, and supporting one another, we can strengthen our services and provide and create lasting positive changes to Kern County. Once again, I ask, why can't we come together and serve our community better? Again, why can't we come together and serve our community better? Thank you.
Thanks. Please come down.
Anna Medel, first name A-N-A, last name M-E-D-E-L. I want to start by expressing that all views that I say today are my own. I came to speak today on things I want to see out of this county, the county that I was born and raised in, and the county that I live in and work for. I want to see your board members attending events that mean a lot to our communities and to the county workers that put so much time and effort in, not just ones that y'all think will look good for photos. I want to see a larger percentage of our adopted county budget going to education. Our literacy rates are dropping, and y'all allocated nearly 0% to education last year. I want to see compost, trash, and recycling bins in all county buildings. I want more frequent maintenance checks of all county buildings, particularly for things like our AC systems. Last summer, several library branches had to close for periods of time because the AC was out. I want warming and cooling centers available in parts of the county where we see large populations of individuals experiencing homelessness. I want proper shading at all bus stops in this county. We have over 105-degree summers, and people rely on public transportation. To not provide shade is ridiculous. I want a review of the current status of all county roads and a plan in place to sufficiently fix all roads, as well as a plan to improve our infrastructure to withstand a changing climate. I want so much more than what it seems like your board is capable of. Leticia, I know you probably weren't expecting this last election to be as close as it was, and trust me, next time it might not be. Jeff, Chris, I know y'all are next up for election in 2027, so let's see how much y'all do in these next 2 years. Philip, David, you have a bit of time before your elections in 2029. Please don't waste it. Y'all have been way too comfortable, and that's gonna stop. Do better, and if you can't, then maybe y'all need to stop taking pay raises while you deny your county workers any adequate ones. Exactly.
Come on down, please. Thank you. I just think it's important to say for the record, in 13 years on this board, I've never given myself a pay raise, just for the record. Ma'am, you're, okay. We're about to shut down the meeting, guys. Is that what you want? You're disrespectful, you're not civil. This is like not okay. This is not how you get things in life, period. I'm just so confused by your behavior. Ma'am, what's your name?
My name's Raquel Hurd, R-A-Q-U-E-L. H-E-A-R-D.
Thank you.
Earlier, my husband spoke.
Okay.
Dr. Robert Hurd. I've worked with the County of Kern for 18 years, and I'm a member of SEIU 521 in District 2 with Chris Parlier. I stand before you not as a social worker, but as a human being who is struggling under the weight of a system that is breaking us. We love our job, protecting children, supporting families, and truly making a difference. But the truth is that it is breaking us. Caseloads are unmanageable. Everyday workers are expected to handle more families than we can properly serve. We want to be thorough, give each child the time and care they deserve, but there simply aren't enough hours in the day. And so we work overtime, and a lot of it. Not to get ahead, but just to barely meet the bare minimum, if possible. But no matter how much we give, it's never enough. As soon as we hire someone, we lose another. Why? Because the responsibility is overwhelming. The job demands everything from us, our time, our energy, and our sanity. And for what? To always feel like we're falling short. We're taking away time from our families, our marriages, our friendships. We miss birthdays, bedtime stories, school functions, and the simple joy of sitting down to dinner with our loved ones because we're always working. And when we are physically home, we're not because the stress follows us. The children and families we serve deserve better, but right now we're drowning. And when we drown, they suffer too. We're forced to rush investigations, to make decisions without fully engaging, to check a box rather than to change a life. That's not why we became social workers. We need relief, we need manageable caseloads, we need the resources to do our jobs the way that they were meant to be done. If we don't fix this, we don't show how much we value our employees, we'll continue to lose good workers. And most importantly, the children and families of Kern County will pay the price. I hope on this day, the board and the county are not only putting on a show about how important social workers are valued, but you are genuine in those statements. I'm not asking, I'm pleading for action, for real, tangible change, because we can't keep doing this. And because the people we serve, the most vulnerable in our community, deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful statement. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello,
Good
my name is
afternoon.
Jonah Tilton. I've been with the county for 11 years as a communications technician. I'm not a proud member of the union. It unfortunately was the only option presented to me. I feel like SEIU is great for health and human services and all these social workers who I think everything they're saying is valid. But for us and what I do, I maintain, or me and my coworkers maintain, the public safety communications dispatch, radio dispatch system. My job is vital to the public safety of Kern County as we are responsible for maintaining the emergency dispatch system. I don't think I need to elaborate further as how to my job directly affects the safety of the residents of Kern County. We are a staff of 7 full-time employees and 1 extra help. As you may recall, in June of '23, the board voted to approve a $177 million upgrade to the county's public safety radio system. Not only have we been tasked with overseeing the new system installation, but also with the task of keeping our antiquated current system up and running for the residents of this county. I have requested that the specific classifications under our career field be added to the list of equity studies that need to be done with this contract. Our classifications are currently 30 to 50% underpaid as compared to the 7 outlying counties that are also in California. I have been told by the board that you will not talk to me about an equity study, and by the union that they pushed for it during negotiations and it was shut down by the county. I just want to know what I need to do to get on the list of classifications that need an equity study. We aren't asking for anything extra, just to be paid a fair and equitable wage to help with the retention and recruitment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jonah. Are there any other members of the public? I don't see any lined up. We're going to close the public portion, return to the board. If there aren't any additional comments, this is receive and file on the budget, and then we'll move to public presentations. Thank you, SEIU members, for being here. Thank you for your passion, and
Madam
thank
Chair.
you for what you do for Kern County.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
there was a number that was recurring throughout the comments, and I think Elsa would like to comment on that.
Please, Elsa. Some can still hear now, so please do.
Madam Chair, can I say something?
Please.
I would like to invite all the people, instead of chanting a slogan, to actually come down and listen to a response to the concerns that they had. But they're just going to keep shouting and chanting because it's not really a conversation, it's propaganda. Thank you.
Okay, so you were going to make a comment on a moment. Just wait a minute so we hear you properly. Because there was a lot of things said that I'd like answers to, too, that I appreciate you taking a position on and helping us.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I think since we're still on the financial report, I thought I would take the opportunity to comment on some of the numbers that were thrown during the public presentation. It appears that a lot of the numbers that were discussed today came from a document that was prepared, a white paper that was prepared by our labor organization. Just for the fact that document was provided to us by the Bakersfield, California first last week, and then subsequently by our union. There's a lot of information in that document, and we're currently reviewing. But in reference to the $532 million that is being referenced in today in public comments, I just want to make sure for your board and the public understand where that came from, because I was able to decipher where that number came from. That number appears to be from our annual comprehensive financial report. And as I told you, that is a document that takes a snapshot. It's not a budgetary document. It doesn't account for certain things that happen in the budget. The document that they use, the financial reports that they use, are for fiscal year 2021, 2022, and 2023. We're talking over a year and a half old information. What they did is they took one line in one statement of our 300-page document to compile 532 million. And it is important to note that the results on the financial statements are not cumulative. Year after year, they change. Each financial statement covers a single fiscal year and provides a snapshot of government entity financial position, including the revenues, and which were not part of that summary. In that summary, what was also not included is a shortfall of revenue. So if you don't have revenue, you spend less. Also, there was not consideration for the transfer to other county programs that are not accounted within our general fund. Aging and Adult, Department of Human Services, In-Home Supported Services, Airport. What's also not accounted for is that we budget for capital projects. You have a capital project that is not completed in one fiscal year, so of course you're going to have unused budgetary resources. That means that you're going to use them the following fiscal year. In fact, if your board recalls, every July we come to your board and the public with what we call our carry forward, unused resources. We come back to the board and the public to make sure they're aware on how we're using those resources. So we came back in July of '23 to tell the board and the public how we were gonna use those resources on the following fiscal year. I was here in front of your board again in July of 2024, if we had any unused resources, how we were gonna use them on this current fiscal year. So the concept that we have all this money just sitting aside is not correct. I just wanna clarify that for the record.
Thank you very much. I see no other questions or anybody punched in. I think we're going to receive and file the budget and keep moving.
I make a motion to receive and file.
Hang on.
We have a motion and a second.
Hang on.
Is that okay?
It is. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
I'm going to wait and let him vote.
Okay, got it. Take your time, Chris, please. I'm not hungry.
The motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you, Supervisor. Okay, I'm joking about hungry. We're here to do the people's business.
Madam Chair, I have one question about the budget. May I?
Please.
Just, it's quick. Can we, your explanation, I understand. Can you, I don't know, boil that down to a layman's terms and post that on the website or email that out? Because everybody's going to hear the other side of the story. Let's tell them what you just told us in a manner that the employees can take in. Non-financial types.
Supervisor Couch through the chair. I speak financials, so I'm going to try to, I will try my best. We're still reviewing the document. We want to make sure that we carefully review any data that is there, not only financial, but operational, so we understand what is being said. And we will, identify information that needs to be corrected.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I do believe we voted on the receive and file, correct? Okay, we're going to move to the last item of today's agenda. Thank you so much for your patience. It is public presentations. It is limited to 2 minutes. It's for members of the public to address this board on matters that are within our jurisdiction, just not on today's agenda. Thank you for your patience. Please come forward, state your name. We want to hear from you. Now is the time. Please, I am so sorry to keep you waiting like that. Thank you for your graciousness.
Again, hello. My name is Mercy Pena, and it's spelled MERCYPENA. I'm the Greenfield Greenfield School District trustee of the Area C. The reason I am here is to request an itemized statement from the Kern County Elections Office and also the Kern County Attorney's Office for the total cost of my which was case number BCV-24-104-155 due to the ballots sent in the incorrect area. Thank you. I have asked this from the elections office, and I still haven't gotten a response. So I just wanted to bring that up again, just to let you guys know that nothing's been done.
Was anybody seated in the
Yes, I'm seated now.
You're
Yes.
seated there now?
I'm seated
And
now,
the
now.
lawsuit is running its course?
Well, it's ended.
Oh, it has
I
ended?
won, yes, it's
Forgive me.
ended and I
Oh,
won.
forgive me. Okay, so
And
you
I've
are
already
now
been-
permanently there?
I am permanently there now.
Okay.
But I just want to get the itemized statement of what's been cost, what it cost the taxpayers, because my voters want to know, and I don't have, and answer for them.
Okay, understood.
Thank you so much.
Can I jump in there?
Sure.
I believe we can request that of our county council, and she can provide that to you, but we can request it of the auditor controller, but it's really her office that needs to provide that to you. Okay? Can I ask county council to do both on our behalf? Or I guess I'm asking you, can you ask the auditor controller on our behalf?
Supervisor Couch through the chair. I'm happy to speak with the Register of Voters, and we'll assemble the costs, the staff costs that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. Oh, my goodness. I really appreciate your patience. So now you're more sympathetic to us then, I take it. Somehow I don't think so. I won't hold my breath, Dennis.
No, we go early all the time, so sometimes we get the hammer. Okay. All right, good morning, board. Good afternoon, board. This is a request from the BOS of San Joaquin County.
I'm sorry, can you give me your name?
Ron Barger.
Thank you.
All right. This is a request from BOS San Joaquin County to Governor Newsom regarding support for voter ID requirements and the elimination of same-day voter registration in California. Dear Governor Newsom, the San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors urges your support for a California voter identification requirement for residents to receive and cast any ballot. Additionally, we advocate for eliminating same-day voter registration in California elections. There were over 5,000 same-day registrations in Kern County last election. There are currently 36 states with laws that request or require voters to show some form of ID at the polls, and more than half of the country does not allow same-day registration. While same-day voter registration is intended to increase voter accessibility, it has proven challenging to manage and has significantly delayed election certification. In fact, Secretary of State Weber finalized the 2024 general election results on December 13th, 38 days after the election day, making California one of the last states in the country to certify results this past November. California Election Code 2170-2173 allows conditional voter registration, enabling eligible individuals to register and cast a provisional ballot within 14 days of an election, including on election day. However, the website of both the Secretary of State and the San Joaquin Register of the Voters state that the deadline to register for an upcoming election is 14 days prior. We respectfully request your administration to support legislation that requires voter identification and eliminates same-day voter registration. Kern County's concerned citizens request Kern County's Board of Supervisors to present a similar request to the governor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Y'all been battered this morning.
So you're going to be nice, I take it.
Reckon so. I was going to ask you a question about, Amy suggested, well, I don't know, several months ago about increasing the space around the voter elections process for observations. Has there been any movement on that, or is it on the calendar to be started?
Good question.
Then I would also like to know, do we have any process for upgrading our camera system for the voter boxes, drop boxes? Because the last ones that were put in might as well have been crackerjack boxes, because you couldn't see what was going on, you couldn't monitor what was going on, and they weren't being recorded. So that was either intentional or just a waste of money if somebody didn't know what they were doing. So I would ask that you get a security system specialist to put something in so that it would actually provide some proof and some reservations about stuffing those boxes. As far as the budget goes, the cleaner we get this voting registration and mail-out ballots, the fewer tax dollars we'll be spending on wasted ballots. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Good afternoon, Mr. Shen.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Supervisors. God bless America, and nobody loves you and the staff more than concerned citizens.
Oh, gracious. We needed that.
I'm Charles Shen, retired Marine, SHINN. 5-year removals, inactive removals, in detail. Another, like the 28th reminder. Request was made on 23 January 2024, i.e. that's 398 days ago, over 13 months now. Kern ROV was sued by Judicial Watch as one of 46 other counties for failure to document removals from the 2020 November to 2022 November Eves report, which now it's 25 November, and Kern County voters deserve better. 6 August of 2024, the Board of Supervisors meeting, the ROV stated she would remove up to 37,000 additional inactive voters on the after the 5 November general election was certified. We would like to expedite this process as it is now 83 days past the 5 December certification date. And last but not least, the California Code of Regulations, Article 1, Access to Voter Information. This article outlines requirements for requests of voter registration information in California. Voter registration information includes details available in individual records such as registration status, registration dates, original and updated, reason for the most recent update, voting participation history, including election dates and methods. Over the past year, Elections Department has failed to provide complete voter registration information to those who apply and pay for access. Missing details include registration status, dates, methods, recent updates, and voting participation history. This goes along the lines of ballots issued, not returned, and returned undeliverable ballots. We demand full access to voter registration records to audit and to detect potential fraud and accuracy and ensure compliance with laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shen.
Good afternoon. My name is Glenn Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors, Madam Chair, and Madam Chair, thank you for your professionalism this morning. Appreciate it. This morning, I want to reflect on our relationship as concerned citizens with you and the Board of Supervisors. We're grateful for being able to sit with you once a month to discuss election concerns here in Kern County. And you know that we as concerned citizens advocate for same-day paper ballot, voter ID as the ultimate protection to our elections, and we want to trust in our local and state elections, and we are a grassroots movement. But taking a broad perspective look across America, you know there are other large grassroots body of concerned citizens. One of in 2024 nationwide election confirmed that Americans want to preserve our constitutional republic. That's one based on law. One growing grassroots body across America is Convention of States, which started a few years ago, 2013, I believe. It's focused on the goal of using Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution to call a Convention of States in order to propose amendments that would limit, number one, limit the size and scope of federal government. Number two, limit the fiscal spending of the federal government. And point three, place term limits on members of Congress and federal officials or bureaucracies. In order to hold a convention, Article 5 says we need 2/3 of several states, which would be 34 states. We have 19 states that have passed our resolution, though and through their legislatures. We need 15 more to pass. Now, why do I mention that today? Well, today we are voting on candidates for District 32, and we want to get behind the one elected and work towards these Convention of States goals. And we, the people, and consent of the government have taken on a new meaning, and Americans once again know that we are responsible for our own liberty, and we must promote good policies into our Constitution as a permanent barrier between the federal government and the American people. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Glenn.
Can we clap?
Sure. Anybody else? Do we have any other public statements this morning? I really thank you guys for your hard work, the hours that are countless now, and for being here in civility and showing that people from all kinds of corners and backgrounds can still make progress together. So thank you. Do we have any other statements? As we're about to wrap up. You're going to be that guy.
I am.
I love it. Okay, go.
Brian Marsh. I
Hi,
just
Brian.
want to say thank you and goodbye. After a year and a half of searching for my replacement, we have finally hired one.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I can, in 5 weeks of training him, I can actually fully retire. I don't know if I will have time to come and visit all of you with him, considering his schedule and your schedules.
If I was you, I wouldn't.
You reveal too much, Couch. Will we be able to present a resolution to you at some point?
Well, I'm not a county employee, so I don't know why you would.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
But thank you for all that you've done. Appreciate, because I have SEIU employees, I appreciate what you do for them and for all of us as county citizens. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, may I, in case you don't get by and see us, and in case you're the type of guy that would probably say, no, I don't want one of those things, thank you for your service. And I've always enjoyed speaking with you and the way you handled yourself. Consummate gentleman and consummate professional. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure working with all of you.
Bet.
It's accurate.
Also, too.
Thank you. Okay, with the motion, we're going to go to close and be back here at 2.
I'll make that motion, but I want to refer this letter that we got during public statements.
Okay.
If it's okay, the things they're asking for in there are fine with me, but if you want to run that through our committee and however you want to do that, it's fine with me.
Got it. We have a referral on that. Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion. We'll see you at 2.